You're watching the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network. Now it's time for the Brent and Austen Show.
Well, there he is, Liam Coen, the next head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars, offense coordinator for 3 years now. Rams, obviously back in the college game, and then the Bucs, 39 years old, Tampa Bay. Look at what they did, and some of the metrics out there at what they did are pretty good. Even the deep dive into some of those numbers, and not everybody is like, oh, what do those mean, are still pretty good. So is that the guy? Is that the guy that's going to get the Jaguars where they want to go? Is that the guy that's going to bring sustainable winning? I think there are a lot of folks that could get you to a good record in 2025. The quest is to get you a good record in the mix all the time and a Lombardi trophy for the next rest of this decade, 5 years, 6 years. Where does Liam Coen fit into that? Is he the guy that's going to make that happen? Because we thought Doug Peterson might be able to be that guy in the first year and a half. Didn't work out. The Jags have had swings and misses. It hasn't worked out. And they get another chance with Liam Coen. They try something that they've never tried, really, that under 40 offensive guy, first-time head coach. The league has tried that. The Jags have not. Are they ahead of the curve for the first time in a bit? Is this the cutting-edge move for the Jacksonville Jaguars and the way they did it? Does that help? Even though it's unorthodox and clunky and everything else, they got the guy that they wanted and needed to turn it around. Obviously impressive in interviews. They wouldn't have done all this if they didn't really like him. This wasn't a desperate plea. This was, no, we really like this guy, so let's go get him. And what will happen going forward is the big question. So pretty wild, obviously, few days. And now we just wait for official word from the Jags. I saw a report from Ian Rappaport said this thing actually got done at 1:10 a.m. He gave a specific time on that. So while it was, I think everybody saw what happened last night. Basically, I'm still real curious how it got out at 5:45, 6 o'clock. Like, who was the guy that did that? Was it his agent? Because when the national guys all start putting it out there, but it wasn't Rappaport and Schefter necessarily at that time, if I remember correctly. It was everybody else. Maybe Rapp and Schefter were more like, hey, they're in discussion. They might have done that. But they were one of the last ones to actually say, hey, it's a done deal. And you kind of keep an eye on that because you wonder where it's coming from. Usually if it's coming from the agent or somebody high up in the team, you're going to hit the Rapp and Schefter part and then all the rest too. Mm-hmm. Diana Rossini had some. Pelissero had some early. So it's interesting to watch Schultz, like all those guys and how they're working and what they're getting. And some of the information, by the way, is conflicting at the whole sequence of events. And I think that's interesting to go through. But somebody put that out.
Right.
Around 5:50 or so, 6 o'clock, and it could have been somebody in Tampa because Tampa was obviously pissed. Mm-hmm. So that could have come from Tampa. And by the way, if it did, that's exactly why Liam Coen had to do what he did and be secret with this because that's what he was afraid of is somebody from the Tampa side or somebody else putting it out. That's what the Jags were afraid of. So I think that part, that's always fascinating to me. I don't know if it's fascinating to the fans as much, but to track it back and see how it went. It's just always a wild ride in that regard. But the reports obviously then got out from Tampa that, hey, he's already told everybody. And that happened around 10:45. I was about to do the 10:50 show. And, listen, we're right there with a lot of it, but I'm never say, especially in this instance, I want confirmation multiple times. I think all those reports, at least that Tampa had heard from the coaching staff and he had let them know, was the best indication that this thing is going to get done. We knew there was no turning back. When we came on breaking news yesterday about 7:30, 8 o'clock with obviously this Coen thing was looking like it's going to happen, it couldn't come back. Like both could not come back from it. You could not U-turn again. Like this had to get done. Didn't matter what you gave in, it had to get done for both parties. There was reason for that. So around 10:45, you started to get that. And then Rappaport said, but part of that was he was headed back to Tampa. And the agent and the Jags were going to finalize some of the final language, the crossing of the T's and the dotting of the I's. And it sounds like that happened at 1:10 a.m., according to Ian Rappaport. That's the only place I've seen that. But the Jags still have not put it out. The Jags have not confirmed. The Jags have not issued a statement yet on this. I suspect that will come any moment, any time. And I think they probably want to get all the other ducks in a row, like when are you doing the news conference? There's an interesting thing going on right now, if you guys didn't catch it on social media, because part of this whole story, as this is unraveling, and you get, again, conflicting reports, a lot of different information. Tampa's pissed, so they're actually willing to give information. It's probably some emotional information along the way at what's going on. And Liam Cohen's wife took to Twitter this morning and... Oh, man, I had it. Where is it?
I did too. I've been searching for it the last 2 minutes.
Come on, where is it? I know a lot of people have retweeted it. So, all right, hang on a second. I just want to make sure we read this one. Because one of the storylines with this was he had told Todd Bowles that his kid had fallen ill, is sick, and that was part of the reason that he hadn't been in touch.
I got it.
During the day. And so everybody's like, yeah, right. And in that reporting that was mentioned that, he mentioned the Jags, but the way it came off was like, yeah, he said he was sick. We couldn't find him for the last couple of days. It said the kid was sick. Couldn't find him for the last couple of days. And oh, yeah, by the way, he mentioned that he's interested in the Jags job. So it really put Coen in a bad light to the point where by last night, people were like, oh, he lied about the kid, right? Like he lied. He was making that part up. And what do you got? Liam Cohen's wife, Ashley, I think it is.
Yeah,
right?
Ashley, she says, I hate that I even have to say this, but when people are negative about my kids, I will not be silent. Our son is sick. We were at the hospital yesterday seeing a specialist for his autoimmune disease. Please don't spread misinformation and assume because you heard one side. Yeah, so
I don't know where all that is. Honestly, I have no idea about it. I think it goes back to a news conference even a month ago that he also had mentioned that his child was ill. So obviously they're battling a little something there. But he also was in Jacksonville. Like, I don't know if that means they were at the doctors in Jacksonville. Who knows? Like, we don't know that part. The bottom line is you can have a lot of... Listen, if this was Jacksonville and it happened to Jacksonville, everybody around here would be kind of pissed too. Yeah. Like, you get where the Bucs are coming from. But the bottom line is this is business. I mean, this is what happens. Like, this is not surprising. This is a cutthroat league to begin with. It's about winning. It's about winning right now. It's about getting your guy. And there you go. So, I mean, the stuff that's come out since 5:50 last night, when I assume somebody from the Tampa side probably started to leak this to people, that we haven't been able to catch up with him. He's closing in on a deal with the Jags. Well, that's why you had to be secretive about this whole thing. And from the Jags side of you, they had to say, listen, we want to revisit this, but the only way we revisit this is that if nobody knows. Because at the end of the day, if you choose to go back to Tampa, you can't publicly turn us down again. Like, it can't happen. Now, my guess is it would have come out anyway. You can't control all of it. But I get where probably the Jags are coming from. I get where Liam Cohen's coming from. If you want to make this quiet and see how it's going to work, because there's no way just because he came back over here, you knew it was going to be a done deal. You just can't do that. But, hey, credit to the Jags and Shad and made it happen. I think people will be beyond this thing in just a little bit. It is a lot of noise, by the way, for an offensive coordinator. It's not like this was Belichick being the head coach in the Jets and then spurning them to go to New England. I mean, Coen was not going to be the head coach in Tampa. It's pretty wild that this much steam has come from him coming back to be an OC, which shows you how much they coveted him. Right. How much they wanted him.
Makes you feel a little bit good.
And that part is, so for all the folks that say, well, he's the only guy, Jags are only one, Jags only one, Jags only one interested. Well, I think a lot of the teams probably knew, hey, Tampa's going to probably make a move, which might have also showed you that either Baalke or Shad were like, so what? We want the guy. We're going to try to get the guy. Or Baalke didn't read the room right. And was like, hey, we're going to go after him anyway, even though Tampa's going to probably try to get him back. Maybe the rest of the league had a better feel on that than Trent, which wouldn't be a surprise. No, seriously. And we've seen multiple things over the years, but also this week alone, I think, shows that Trent didn't play this the exact way as he was leading the search that maybe he should have, from Ben Johnson to the Rooney Rule to Liam Cohen. So I think there's evidence there. But this was probably the reason why, like, most of the league said, hey, he wants to stay in Tampa. He wants to probably have some stability there. So if you really don't think you're going to give him the job and this is just an interview cycle, he's not doing that. He's not taking that for that. But the Jags probably like, no, like, we might want you. Like, that might be how they got him. to interview for the first time. Like, no, you are like top 2, top 3 on our list. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's how that works. Who knows? So I think that part is pretty interesting. Bottom line is, he was going to be coveted at some point, whether it's now or next year or in the future. I think the Bucks, obviously, and Williams says Jeff Arlington mentioned. I retweeted that as well this morning. That there was so much talk about Coen in Tampa that they actually did think about, should we make him coach in waiting? Should we move on from Todd Bowles? How is this going to work? Delicate. It's a delicate situation for both the Jags and the Bucks. So I think it speaks volumes about Coen that maybe the Jags are trying to find that, whether it's Sean McVay, whoever that is for you. That's like, hey, this is the next best guy. This is the guy. This is the whiz kid. And this is the stuff we're hearing. Like, he's really good. And he's a fast riser in the NFL if you really look at his resume. Not too many guys go coach at UMass, Brown, Maine, Rhode Island, and end up in the league less than a decade later as a head coach. I mean, that's kind of where we're at here. So this is a fast riser, a guy that's really taken a jump. And it was really the Shane Waldron and Sean McVay relationship that actually has led to this day for Liam Coen. That's how we got here, because that relationship, and Shane Waldron was working with him up in the Northeast and said, hey, Sean, you might want to take a look at this guy, got him involved, and then we start to see the ladder climb a lot faster for Liam Coen, which has been the case for a lot of folks around Sean McVay. And that's been okay. That's been pretty good. I don't know what the failure rate on McVay is, but we know the success rate's pretty good in some of these spots too. And I like that part of this. I'm not going to lie. I like the fact that he's 39. I like the fact that he's a little bit unknown. Mm-hmm. I like the fact that he's probably coveted or was going to be coveted and still is coveted by the team that he came from. Think about free agency. Free agency, you always ask this, right? Like, why are the guys available? Why do the Baltimore Ravens make Ronald Darby available? Why didn't they keep him? Mm-hmm. Well, that's how free agency works, and then you're a little more desperate. You're like, okay, well, we're going to kick the tires anyway. Well, that sometimes blows up. Well, that's not the case with Coen here. They weren't like, yeah, see you later, get out of here. Good luck to you. Glad to have you. No, they were like, no, we want you. Like, that's a pretty loud statement. And then, of course, the last part of this is the McVay part. I just think coming from that McVay tree right now is a pretty successful tree for the league and for Liam Coen and the Jags. Bucks offered him $4.5 million to be the OC. That is the reported number. Jags offering Coen $12 million plus to be head coach. That is kind of the reported number. The Rooney report, which again, guys, I got to be honest with you. All these details, all these reports, they're already conflicting a little bit in terms of the time frame. I think fans have got to be so careful to take everything as gospel. I see so many comments in our chat all the time to be like, oh, well, that's exactly it. And listen, I'm not offering up those kind of details. So credit to those folks on the national scene, at least giving some details. But I also don't know if we should take them as gospel. I mean, and this isn't a knock on her, but Diana Rossini fired Doug Marrone, and he wasn't fired. All right? I mean, these guys make mistakes, too. They don't know every detail, but every report becomes gospel. And we already know that with the insiders from the fan insiders that we have in town to not everything should be gospel. So I just think even that, is he going to make $13 million a year like Ben Johnson? Maybe. Maybe that's what it took to get him here. I don't give a damn. It ain't my money. But the bottom line is, whether he made $8, $9, $10 million, it's still more than $4.5. The reported number out of the Bucks. But what the money says is what Austin says a lot. Well, the Bucks were really showing him a lot of love, making him the highest paid offensive coordinator for a guy that really didn't have a ton of experience. Like, this wasn't Vic Fangio. Fangio apparently makes $4.5 million. He's like the highest paid defensive coordinator until I think Robert Saleh just got the San Francisco gig, who will trump that. So contracts are going up, much like contracts are going up for players, and contracts are going up in college football too. But I mean, Vic Fangio's been around for 25, 30 years, whatever it is, right? Yeah. And they must feel really good about Coen to be able to say, hey, no, we'll give you this. And I thought part of that equation was, my guess is Bowles is not on the higher end of coaches. Yeah. He's probably on the lower part of the average, because how many people would have Todd Bowles as their coach? This has been a nice recovery, by the way, for Bowles. He's done way better at Tampa than I thought he would do. Right. And that would have been very unfair to see him dismissed off a couple of playoff appearances, even though maybe their future move, the best move, would have been a guy like Coen to keep him and promote him and get him. And the opportunity
part with a guy
itself.
that just won a division again.
Yeah, really hard. Really hard. And I think they made the right move. I mean, some of this comes down to PR, right? Like, I mean, you can't do that. You can't just say you're out. Well, you can, but that would be, you better be right. Like, you put yourself in quite a spot if that is the case. So Liam Coen is coming to Jacksonville at some point, and I think the fans love this right now. That is the one, like that. My big takeaway is, man, you guys are emotional. Like, if you want my honest opinion, I told somebody this morning, I'm like, this is why. This is not a knock. Okay, I love you. We love you. So don't take it as one. Don't be sensitive now. But this is why when you come off the Detroit loss and the place is burning down, that even Shad is hesitant to make a move based on reaction.
Yeah.
Right? This is why I think he even hangs on to Baalke so much, even though all the hate. I'm not telling you it's right. I thought they should have made a move after Detroit. I think they should have made a move with Baalke a couple of weeks ago. But I'm just telling you, this is why owners and this is why other folks are like, wait, we got to get through this kind of mud right now and see where we actually are. What do we believe in? We can't just react. We can't just, hey, they're the clown movement. Hey, they're not coming to get, hey, now listen, it's loud. You do your thing. Like, that's cool. But you guys roasted Tony Baselli 28 hours ago.
Yeah.
Like, you hated the guy. And now you've got him as the EVP today. Like, here's the deal. I still don't have him as the EVP, but I also wasn't roasting the guy to the point you guys were. So, again, we love you for it. I'm just telling you, that's why sometimes you got to see through a little bit. I think that's why they try to take a step back. I mean, Jags fans are unbelievable. I also think there's power in the Jag fan. I think there's power in the movement. I brought up earlier this week, like, remember, Tom Coughlin back in the, I wasn't here for it, but the word is Tom Coughlin back in the day got fired because the noise was so loud here in Jacksonville after that first stint, even though he had done so many good things. Mm-hmm. And then Wayne Weaver says, by the time he sells the team, my biggest regret was firing him. So he regretted kind of giving in to the noise, in essence. So, the bottom line is, though, if you don't give in to the noise, you better be right. See, like, Shad did not give in to the noise of Baalke, but he wasn't right. He should have. He should have given in to all the people talking, from the loud noise outside to even the people inside talking. So I'm not, you don't want, the bottom line is when you're a decision maker, like Doug Peterson, didn't give in to the noise, Press Taylor, he wasn't right. You've got to be right if you're not going to give in, you know? So listen, hey, do your thing. But I also think there's a little bit of a lesson here of this is why when things change so quickly and so emotionally, and from we hate you, Tony, to we love you, Tony, to we hate you, Shad, to we love you, Shad, to like all these things, like that's part of fandom. That's like the cool thing. But I think the reaction from the people making the decisions can't be as quick. It just can't. It can't operate like that. But they also had to be right. You can't, like, the bottom line is the fans, and I think us screaming in the microphones were more right over the last year or change. Like, we want to be wrong when we say these things.
Yeah.
But we were right. And so that makes you look even worse, you know, when you don't move. And so it's just a pretty wild dynamic. I think I think it's fascinating. It's not a knock on anyone. Please don't take it that way. I think it's just putting it out there in real time of what just transpired really over the last few weeks, over the last 15 months, and just this week in a 48-hour span. I find it fascinating. Like, I love it. I think the power of the fan, I think the power of talking about this team nonstop, I think can be something that really gains steam. But I do think the decision makers still have to kind of weigh everything when you're about to make a decision. And I think they made a good one. By the way, what did I say the last couple of days? I think Liam Coen made the right choice. Right. I think he made a mistake a couple of days ago going back to Tampa. Honestly did. Even with Baalke. I think now he got it right. I think Liam Coen got it right. And that's a big deal for him and his family. That's a big deal for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Part of the excitement is because of all of the anger over the last couple of days, and here's why. and I've seen this time and time again on social media, Twitter, whatever. The biggest frustration with not firing Baalke, getting turned down by Ben Johnson, getting turned down initially by Liam Coen from the fans is that they thought, man, it's so disappointing that we feel that we know more than the organization, or that we can run it or make decisions better than the organization. Well, why did they feel that way? The point you just pointed out, that we were right more often than not over the last little bit here. And now part of the excitement coming off of that is the feeling that they've rebounded. They did what we would have asked them to do, what we've been wanting them to do. Because at the end of the day, what fans most want is to have trust in the organization that they know better than themselves.
Yeah, they want them to know better.
You want to be wrong.
Yeah.
You want the organization to be right a lot more than you're right. If only one of the two can be right, you want that person to be the organization, or that group to be the organization, not you and your buddies. So the fact over the last 24 hours that it looks like we're getting it right, some of that faith is being restored. We talk about the stock. Yesterday we were joking of Shad and Baselli, how it went into the tank.
It really did.
And now it's up 200% in the last 24 hours.
Yeah, they are crypto. Real life crypto.
They're crypto. They're crypto. 100%. And not just Bitcoin. They're the freaking meme coins that really bounce up and down, because Shad's approval rating is now through the roof because of how he's pretty much set his eyes on a specific target, and at one point or another, he wouldn't be denied.
Yeah.
That's pretty much where we got to. Shad said, I'm not going to be denied. I don't care if you turned it down, Liam Coen. I'll do whatever it takes. I'll fire the guy that's the stumbling block, and I'm going to go get you. And because of that, his approval rating's through the roof. Baselli, whatever role he's playing, is through the roof. The other part of it is, man, it kind of just feels like we got one over on another team for the first time in a while. And that's not really what's happening. The Jags are not getting one over on, but at least for the fans, we haven't had anything to kind of be like, yeah, we won. Well, in a battle, first of all, let me say this. This is a battle you should win, when you're able to give a guy a head coaching job and $12 million versus, hey, stay where you're at.
Yeah.
You
should be able to win. You're right.
You should be able to win. But at the same time, there's a lot of times when we, as an organization, should have been able to win and lost. And the other teams took advantage. The other teams made out better than we did. Well, this seems like even before Liam Coen signs his contract, even before he ever coaches a game, that we kind of won and beat Tampa Bay in a sense.
Yeah, and by the way, I do think it's significant. It's against Tampa. It's an in-state. Not that there's a lot of vitriol between Tampa and Jags. It's not like Orlando has a team and it's Jags, right? Or even the Dolphins. I don't feel that here. Now, it's not like it's a divisional opponent, but or even the Steelers, say, or there are other things where there's been more, but it's kind of nice just across town to be able to, or the state to be able to say, we got you. How you feeling, Tampa, today? Because there's been plenty of times Tampa and other teams have been able to say, how you feeling today, Jacksonville, including Wednesday morning, just that recent. I did ask earlier in the week, or yesterday at some point, I don't know, who's having the better Thursday compared to the rest of the week, Shad Khan or Tony Baselli? And Shad was winning 57-42, but they both had pretty good Thursdays compared to the rest of the week.
100%.
Yeah, Pete Carroll to Las Vegas is the latest now. Dominoes are starting to fall. Interesting hire there. We'll get into that maybe a little bit later on. But Pete Carroll to Las Vegas, along with Spytek, the GM. He's not coming to Jacksonville. Get into the GM conversation in just a bit. But I want, before we hit a break, and Austin will join us a little bit later on. He's working out and in fight camp for the UFC fight he's got coming up in a couple months, and he's down in South Florida, so he's been in and out of the show. He'll join us about 11:30, 11:45 today, so we'll get some of his thoughts. We got some guests lined up on the show today, too, that we're trying to lock down, so we'll have a lot of Liam Coen talk, obviously, as we wait official word from the Jags. But you just said something about Shad, and while I'm not really joking by asking who's having the better Thursday. I do think it's important and nice if you do have belief in the owner. And there's been many a times this fan base does not have belief in the owner, quite frankly. He's given them reason for that. Some of it may be unwarranted as well, because the belief of Shad Khan as an owner in Jacksonville based on record and some of the actions different than the belief around the league on Shad Khan as an owner. And we've tried to make that point crystal clear. One of the reasons Liam Coen is coming to Jacksonville is because of Shad Khan, the owner. Well, he's willing to pay him. He's willing to give the resources. He'll stay out of the way. He'll give him autonomy in the building, all those kind of things. He's a good owner to work for. I think he just got basically a 4-year guaranteed deal to open up a new stadium. How cool is that if you're Liam Coen, right? So there's plenty of reasons outside of what the fans see as win, losses, frustration, all the rest. And then there's also the other part of this of what he's done for Jacksonville, what he's going to continue to do for Jacksonville, the things that we tried to say, hey, wait, but you got to look at this too. But there's a feeling right now in Jacksonville, and I think there should be, that what a move. Mm-hmm. Like, you're talking about one of the richest men in the world, and he just turned in one of the big power plays in the NFL this week. And that's, I think, significant. I always thought it was significant when he said, I want Urban Meyer, I got Urban Meyer. Jerry Jones and other people were rumored to have gone after Urban Meyer and couldn't get him. Shad Khan could. The fact that he could get Urban Meyer was significant. Didn't work out. Understood. But I'm telling you, the fact that he can get Liam Coen in all this mess and clean it up as quick as he did, I think, doesn't it give you some great faith in the owner? That he's trying like hell to win. He's trying like hell to get it right. And he's willing to go to great length to get it right. This should be a very good couple of days for the belief in Shad Khan, I think, here in Jacksonville. And so I don't know if the fans are that dramatic about it, but I think about the recipe of just what took place. And now listen, they've got to get it right. And as I continue to say, they have to do even more. This isn't the end to continue to get it right. But they've made 3 really good moves, it looks like, in the last 3 days or less, really in about a 36-hour span. They pivoted. They acknowledged, oh, boy, we got a problem. Trent Baalke out. Instantaneous. Hey, Tony Baselli, we're talking to you anyway. We're going to get you involved the other way. Well, get involved now. Get in that room. Let's go. Along with Ethan Waugh. We'll see what the future of Ethan Waugh is. And then, hey, Liam Coen, we want you. Mm-hmm. We need you. Mm-hmm. We're getting you. Here's the private jet. And here's the bag. I mean, those are what we have talked about all week, is once you lost Ben Johnson, and even if you got Ben Johnson, you had to make a series of moves to make sure this is in a better place, not just for today or September, but 3, 4, 5, 6 years down the road in Jacksonville. But you had to make a series of good decisions. They made prompt decisions. They reacted fast. They won back the fans. The ticket office is probably getting some phone calls today in a good way, not in a bad way. And they figured it out. Now, they got to be right. And there's still more moves to be made, like the GM, the structure of the front office, the staff of Liam Coen, and then there's a laundry list of things I have that I've been preaching about and screaming about for months and years around here that they still have to fix that are a little more subtle and we won't see. They won't be transactional. But this is a great start. We said you have to have a series of moves, and it's like, Baalke, gone. Oh, home run. Baselli involved. Hey, smart move. Get another person in there. I think it's a smart move to have him involved. And look what happened. You already got one. He's 1-0. Mm-hmm. And Liam Coen, that's your guy. Good for Trevor Lawrence. Good for the team. Go get the guy that you want. Be convicted about it. Win that one. Okay, Shad's 1-0. Liam Coen was 1-0 already by getting Baalke fired, it looks like.
Yeah.
So these guys are off to a heck of a start, and now you got to keep making good moves. You're not going to make every move right. You just won't. Mm-hmm. But you need to continue to make good moves. You have to have a hit rate, whatever that is, whatever it should be. It can't be 30% like the win rate. And it can't be 50%, quite frankly. To turn this organization around like Houston did, like Buffalo did, like Washington has this year, it's got to be a list of good success stories in your decision-making. But the Jags are off to a nice start here later in the week.
And to go back to the conviction part of this, I think it's so insanely huge because think about when you're trying to generate excitement for the fan base, right? The difference between setting your sights on the guy, not being convicted that he is your guy, that transfers to the fan base. That Shad saying, Liam Cohen's the guy. We're gonna go get him. Whether 2 weeks ago you thought Liam Cohen was the guy or not, whether he was the top of your head coaching candidate list, wish pool, or whether he was 6th or 7th, the fact that Shad Khan and the Jags front office is this convicted about him, it's huge for the excitement play. Just think about it. Say you had Joe Brady and Liam Cohen tied personally for who you wanted. Imagine if we have to reopen this thing. We have to wait another week. We interview 4 more candidates. We interview Kellen Moore, Monken. We stick with the solid interview, and we interview Joe Brady. And after all of them, we finally settle on, just for example, Joe Brady. It wouldn't have even been close to this level of excitement because it would have felt like you settled, or that you got beat out and you had to just say, all right, we gotta, cut our losses, move on, and try to salvage the situation. What Liam Cohen and what Shad Khan has done through Liam Cohen and saying, we're not salvaging anything. We're not just going to accept this L. We're going to move forward, and we're going to win despite all of the odds or despite of everything. So I just from the whether he's good or not, the way that this has come about, there is more excitement, I feel like, in this particular unique situation than there would have been just as much as if we would have hired Ben Johnson.
Yeah, I think I actually think the way this all went down and how it transpired, to your point, is because it fits us in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
It's like, screw you guys. If I could double bird here on TV, I would, right? Like, it's screw you the rest of the league. Screw you, Tampa. We don't give a damn if you're mad at the way this went down. We won today. And by the way, winning the offseason feels good. Whether it can carry weight into the regular season, that's been debatable over the years. But winning the offseason feels good. Winning this is a win. This is a win for the Jacksonville Jaguars. This is a win for the organization, a win for Shad Khan. And I'll tell you what, there haven't been a lot of W's. Enough of them. So even right now in January, a win is a good win. Would like it to come in an AFC championship game like on Sunday. And hopefully that's around the corner. But this is a good win on maybe trying to find that win on a Saturday or Sunday at some point down the road. Just the way this worked out, it fits us. It fits Jacksonville. It fits Jags fans almost to perfection because they can double bird everybody out the door on it. So I think that part's good. Glenn says Brent loves Cohen because he's from Rhode Island. Absolutely, I do. Absolutely. I think it's been really fun for me, quite frankly. Just the connection to go back to Rhode Island and dig up some stuff on Cohen and talk to some of the folks that my mentor back in Rhode Island, he's helping me connect with some of these guys. In fact, we might have one of the coaches that coached with Liam Cohen on here in just a little bit. But also, like last night, a guy I interned with at the NBC station in Providence years and years ago, Frank Carpano. I talked to him last night a little bit. He gave me a call about Cohen, what's going on down there. So that's fun. That part's fun. And this doesn't happen out of Rhode Island, I tell you. But what's wild enough, I'll just give you a Rhode Island note, because I was asking, has anybody ever made it to the NFL as a coach from Rhode Island? And nobody can seem to answer that. Nobody thinks that's the case. Mm-hmm. But we had Terry Lynch on yesterday, and I'd asked him that. We didn't know, but he hit me back this morning. He said, it's pretty wild because Joe Missoula, who is the Boston Celtics coach, actually is from Johnstown, Rhode Island, which is just outside of Providence. So he's coaching the Celtics. Rocco Baldelli is from Rhode Island. Yeah. He's coaching the Twins.
Right.
And now you're going to have Liam Cohen coaching the Jags. They've actually got a product from Rhode Island in 3 of the major sports. And I hit him back. I said, the most surprising thing is we don't have a hockey guy.
Yeah.
Because hockey's actually the guy we've produced a ton of talent into the NHL. And so I figured Rhode Island would have produced a hockey guy as a coach. So, yeah, Glenn, you're right. I am loving this a little bit, a little full circle. I'm also getting older, I can tell. If I'm going back to when I covered a guy in 2003 and 4 playing for state championships, and now he's the head coach of your Jacksonville Jaguars. So a little fun part there. I think the guy that's not getting enough credit for influence, and we're going to probably talk about it a little bit more. We talk about Sean McVay, but Mark Whipple is a name that if you know UMass football, right, he's a guy that is huge up in the New England area and had a lot of I think, a lot of influence on a lot of different people, and maybe football in general, offensive football in general. And I think even on Liam Coen. Got to dig deeper into that part of it. But look up the name Mark Whipple, and you'll see the UMass connection, and I think even at Brown University going back in the day. So there's a lot of there are some good coaches up in that area that have influenced along the way. It's just pretty unusual to see a guy from UMass, Rhode Island, Brown, Maine, that kind of resume end up as a head coach in the NFL. I think really the other guy that I know about that's made it near the top is what's his name that just took the UNLV job was Florida coach, college. Why am I not? Who's a Florida guy? Football? Dan Mullen. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Mullen was a New Hampshire guy.
Oh, okay.
And I think, is Chip Kelly a New Hampshire guy? Chip Kelly might be a New Hampshire guy, and Chip is rumored, by the way, to be maybe part of the staff of Liam Coen.
Dover, New Hampshire.
Kelly is from New Hampshire?
Yep.
Yeah, so there you go. So that's pretty... Trying to figure out that whole connection, and I haven't really done enough on it. There's two big names linked to OC here. The guy out in Seattle, who also interviewed for the Tampa job, by the way, last year as an offense coordinator, couldn't come with Coen, or it could be Chip Kelly. And I think there's started a lot of rumors now that Kelly could come from Ohio State and be the guy with Liam Coen. That'd be pretty wild.
Yeah.
Right? So is Ryan Day also from New Hampshire area? I'm not sure. That's a good call. So maybe there's more than I think coming out of that neck of the woods. Usually you think coaches and you think Ohio.
Yeah,
right?
Ryan Day's Manchester.
Is he really? Wow. So there's a nice group of folks out of New Hampshire. Pretty wild. And so that's probably some of these guys are connected because of that Northeast influence to a degree. It's fun to watch where that tree comes from. All right, let's do this. We're way late on the timeout. What the hell else is new here on the show? Brent and Austen Show. Austin will join us in a bit. We are actually going to be joined, or we're trying to be joined in just a little bit by a guy that coached at the University of Rhode Island, and Liam Coen was on that staff a little more than a decade ago. So trying to connect with him, I think he would know a lot about the X's and O's part and the rise of Liam Coen, which actually is a very fast rise to get him here as the head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Obviously, more discussion. What kind of questions do you have? Comments? We'll keep looking at that as well.
It's official.
Pelissero, he's if the Raiders close the deal, these would be the head coaches next season in the AFC West. Andy Reid, Jim Harbaugh, Sean Payton, Pete Carroll. Wow.
Which it has been made official. 3-year deal with a 4th-year team option.
That's for Pete Carroll and the Raiders?
Yep.
So they move pretty quick. And I don't hate that move, but I'm interested in getting a 72-year-old guy in as my head coach. I think that's kind of fascinating. And he's got no quarterback. I think that's a culture play, getting Carroll in, because he's not going to be very successful until they figure it out. Is it a Shedeur Sanders play? Is that comfortable with Dion? Who knows? Are they going to make another move? We'll see. But all attention on Liam Coen right now here in Jacksonville, and we'll continue to talk that when we come back here on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 Network. When it's time to get a new car for anyone in your family, just remember, nobody but Nimnick, the #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville. Get the latest price breaks on 2023 and 2024 models, or the newest 2025 vehicles in the showroom on Phillips Highway, or shop online at nimnickbuickgmc.com 24 hours a day. GMC Sierras, Yukons, and the redesigned Acadias, or get the all-new redesigned line with Buicks. It's nobody but Nimnick, and part of the reason why is this is a first-class buying experience here at Nimnick Buick GMC. You're not just a customer, you're a friend. This is about getting a vehicle that best fits you and getting you on the road, and also helping you and your family down the road. Nimnick has a treating you right guarantee, courtesy, respect, fairness. The most Buicks, GMCs, and Jacksonville's only Car Bravo dealer, nobody but Nimnick. Who has put in the most years and stands behind a better experience? Nobody but Nimnick. GMC. We are professional grade. Happy New Year for the UNF Ospreys, and basketball season is in the teeth of conference play right now. A slow start for the men's team out of the gates with 3 straight losses, but then they broke through in the win column with a win over Bellarmine. The offense scored 98 points in that one. A long way to go, including a stretch the next few weeks with a chance to go on a winning streak. 8 home games in the next 3 weeks for the men's and women's basketball team combined. So check out UNFOspreys.com for the latest in news, schedules, results, and tickets. UNF Arena is a great place to watch a game, so go check them out. And while the hoop teams are battling some snow while on the road, the spring sports season has already arrived with the men's tennis program notching its first win under new coach John Collins. Swoop with the Ospreys in the winter and the spring, inside and outside. Check out UNFOspreys.com for all things Ospreys. I've been telling you about CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing for a long time now. Their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants. We've had a Connecticut water softener and drinking water system in our home for more than 7 years. You can see the difference whether you're washing clothes, the dishes, or what I like to do most, fill this up for some coffee every morning, and mostly all day. Remember, if you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Don't be the filter. Right now, save $1,000 or more when you bundle a Connecticut Premier Softener with a Connecticut K5 drinking water system. The experts at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing will test your water for free and determine your water score. Don't know your water score? CGC will find out and recommend the appropriate Connecticut water treatment solutions so you can improve it. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. Ask about our 90-day love it or leave it guarantee. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579.
When it comes to trucks, I know exactly what I want. And at Bozard Ford, they make it easy to get exactly that. Let's go make this truck a little more my style. With Bozard Built, I can create my perfect truck right here. Lift kit? Check. Premium wheels? You bet. Advanced lighting package? Oh yeah. The Bozard team works their magic. From bumper to tailgate, I'm making this truck mine. It's everything that I wanted and more. From the field to the gym to weekend adventures. This truck's built for my journey. Bozard Built. Customized for your lifestyle, built to exceed your expectations. Check out the inventory and available options at bozardbuilt.com. Unleash your dream ride. Customized, covered, and Bozard approved.
New to town or always been in town, everyone is always looking for a good pizza place. Our place is Donato's Pizza. We love it and still do love it. When I tell my family I'm coming to Donato's, they say, wait a minute, you got to order some for us. So this is not all for me. Let me tell you what the Martineaus get when we put an order in. Well, pepperoni pizza, we usually get more than one of these. And then there's the works, a little bit of everything. And then this is the pizza that can be polarizing for some out there. I don't know why. Hawaiian pizza. Some love it, some don't. At Donato's, you're going to love it, especially with that cinnamon sprinkled on top. Try the pizza my family likes or try your favorite. Right now, you can use the code BRENT20 and get 20% off your order. Every viewer and listener is important to us. And at Donato's Pizza, every piece is important. From fresh ingredients to the dedicated team members and you, the valued customer. Donato's Pizza, where every piece comes together for a winning combination. Jack's Beach and Mandarin locations. Donato's Pizza, every piece is important.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austin Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austin Show. That's Patrick Graham, potentially the next defensive coordinator for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Obviously met with him Thursday, and that comes with the news of Saleh leaving for San Francisco, as we await that official announcement as well. And this is what we had kind of been saying, right, Brent, over the last couple of days. You bring a guy in for your top position, then you say, hey, we're actually going to go with somebody else, but we'll give you the second spot for a lot less money. Would you take it? Probably not. Why would you expect Robert Saleh to do the same in Jacksonville when he already had an offer waiting out there in San Francisco?
Yeah, I mean, the bottom line is, I think I told you pretty early in the week, I mean, he's not going to take the head coach job here. And I think he feels comfortable out there. He goes back to a situation.
He's not going to take the defensive coordinator job here.
I'm sorry, yeah, defensive coordinator job, unless he was getting the head coach job.
Right.
Yeah. So, like, I know fans wanted that. but that was never really in play for Saleh. And my guess is they knew that too. But Saleh was probably really in play as a possibility. But it's crystal clear the Jags wanted to go offense here first. But if they had to fall back to Saleh, I think they like Saleh. I think they do. Like, I don't think that was, listen, the Patrick Graham thing's debatable. Like, were they ever going to hire him? Probably not. But I would say this, that's not disrespectful to Graham. I think Malarkey says, hey, you go take every interview, right? I think also you do your work even for the next cycle now. This is getting ahead of the next cycle in a sense. And can you keep him as a DC? So there's several layers. So while I think this makes you look like when you're interviewing Patrick Graham, maybe it's a bit of a mockery of the Rooney Rule, I don't necessarily look at it that way as much as what the Patriots did.
Right.
Because, and even in Chicago's case, they were never hiring Eddie George, but you could look at him for down the road, start to get a look at him as he climbs his way up in the coaching ranks. And I think that's a little bit of what you got with Patrick Graham here. One, hey, maybe he's the DC because I like him. We hear good things about him. Two, let's do some homework. Maybe if we don't want to go right here this time, I think he was probably 8th, 9th, or 10th on their list in reality of getting the job. But he might be a guy they circle back to in a few years too, if they need to. Hopefully they won't need to. So there's a lot that goes into this. And again, it doesn't always look good. It doesn't. It's clunky. It's bad. I think I don't know of the best way to do it. And I think many people have been put in those kind of situations in the past in jobs, but this one's just so dang high profile that it got 100 million people looking at it. And everybody's self-righteous about a league that all they give a damn about is winning. Mm-hmm. And we know what the league is. And listen, if I was on the outside looking in, I'd be probably screaming a little bit about the way this looks. I get it. But I also say this, I don't care. Because if I got my guy, I got my guy. You got to do what you got to do to get your guy.
Right.
And that's just the way it goes. They didn't do anything illegal. They just had to do some business stuff to make it all happen. In part because they set the table wrong. I mean, they made their own bed in a sense, the Jags did. And maybe Liam Coen did too. He shouldn't have. Honestly, Liam Coen probably should not have agreed to the deal that also said I couldn't go coach. I couldn't go interview.
Right.
Because really, if I get the money, but I think Tampa was wrong in saying you can't go interview. And they helped set this in motion as well. Now, I get them trying to protect themselves. But they actually helped make the bed of what transpired this week, too. Because part of the game here in the NFL is growth. And just think about your business. If you've got somebody in here, there, wherever. I moved down to Jacksonville in part because where I was up in Albany, we liked it up there. Great sports department. Learned so much. The guys were great. It was all that stuff was good. This was a very lateral move for me. Pay-wise, market size-wise, all those things. Now, different sports to cover all that. But the reason I moved is because, hey, the sports director there is from there. He ain't going anywhere. There was no room to move up at the place I was at, as much as I love them. And so for me, if I want to move up, I got to probably get out, even though it's a lateral move at the time and everything else. So, but you give that opportunity for people trying to move up in whatever business that is. And I think Tampa, even though they were kind enough to say, hey, here's money in your bank account. We love you. We want to keep you. We're showing all that. But you can't go interview over here. While that's a decent play from a protection standpoint, it's not really a decent play from a growth standpoint. What I think they should have done is say, hey, we really don't want you to go interview, but we also want you to pick us because we want you to be here.
Yeah.
And so if the money's going to be this, we love you, all these reasons, you're going to probably be our coach someday. You can work with Baker Mayfield, continue this. But hey, you should go take this interview anyway, just because you need experience doing it. Now, hey, I'm saying if they did that, would it have worked out the same way? Well, I don't know, because Trent Baalke might not be fired. So think about it from a Tampa perspective.
And they wouldn't have had to keep it as much of a secret.
They wouldn't have to keep it a secret. They would have shown immense loyalty and care for his future in Liam Coen if they did it that way. But I think it kind of put a little bit of a taste, maybe even in Coen's mouth, like, well, they didn't even let me try to go get experience doing this. So, okay, now I got to play it this way. So they kind of put him in a tough spot. They put him in a tough spot twice. One, because he couldn't go get the experience to even interview, even though, hey, I want to stay here, all this stuff. And then the other part was, now he had to do it under the cloak of secrecy because he couldn't say anything or they'd be really pissed. So let's be fair here. It wasn't the best situation for everybody. It wasn't the easiest situation for Tampa either. And while you want to make the power play, what if they were as transparent with him as possible and said, hey, go over there anyway. I want you to make sure you don't want to go there for your growth. But we really, really want you to come back, and this is what we're going to do. They could have done that. So they kind of put him in a situation where he had to do it this way. So who is wrong? I don't know. I don't think anybody's really wrong. I just think it's messy sometimes to get where you want to get. And you know, at the end of the day, everything plays out now. We know it. Like, the same scenario this week could play out in so many different industries.
Yeah.
In Shad's billion-dollar company, it could play out and nobody knows. Isn't it wild? But around here, everybody knows. Here's this from Rick Stroud. Oh, he was talking about the Albert Breer stuff. And if you haven't, this is a good one from. Actually, I didn't read the Albert Breer one. That was the Darlington one. The Darlington one set it all in motion. Rick Stroud. I didn't read this article yet from Albert Breer, but Stroud commenting on it says some detail here in that personal matter ? It didn't stop Coen from traveling to Jacksonville, then telling Todd Bowles he planned to do so when he was already there. During the 5 o'clock hour, Coen called Bowles and told him he was still dealing with his personal matter. He also told him that things had materially changed in Jacksonville, that he was going to travel there to explore the opening. Within an hour of that phone call, a Bucs staffer got tipped off by someone in the Jags facility that Coen was already in the building. So that's how it leaked out. Clunky. Yeah. But again, I don't know what's the best way. Where's the blueprint for it? And I would argue that Tampa put him in a situation. It's a little bit of a stretch of an argument, but I feel like they could have maybe handled it better on their end too. And maybe you're not talking about this. So, hey, how about one thing about we can talk about the process, and the process is going to be uttered about for a while. We don't have an official word yet, do we?
Nope.
Wow. Okay. Can we get it soon, please? That'd be a wild turn today, and what the hell, I'd expect nothing less, in fact. But
yeah, what are we waiting for?
How good of a hire is this? You know, that part we haven't really, we talked about this process, and it's so clunky and all this stuff, but how good of a hire is it? Like, is this the right hire?
Asking me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a good hire. I think it's a great hire. You wanted an offensive guy for Trevor Lawrence, you got it. You wanted a young offensive mind, a young guy, you got it. You wanted a guy who's come from a good tree. Well, there's no better than McVay. Okay, like if you're trying to check the boxes without even knowing who the guy is personality-wise or even resume, I think his resume is great as far as like what he did last year in Tampa Bay, the guys that he's worked with at Kentucky. Like, if you were to name three things, okay, offensive guy, check. Young, check. Where's his tree? McVay, A+. Right? Everything speaks to what you wanted. There's not anything that Liam Coen is that I didn't want. So, what you got there?
It's funny that he said, I used the word clunky again. I thought the same thing Glenn C. just said. He just said it. He's like, the word clunky has never been used so much in history, and you're right. Because I've seen it everywhere, but it's the only word anybody can associate it with. He said it's warranted, and it is. It's like the only word you can come up with. Sloppy might be another one,
right?
But it's like clunky's the perfect word for this whole thing this week.
Right.
And so I was just laughing at it, because as I was saying it like the 400th time that I've even said it, I said to myself, I was like, damn, can we come up with a different word? And it's really like, no, you can't. So, sorry. Hey, listen, I don't know, guys. I don't know if it's the perfect coach, but I love the idea of it. I like the unknown. I like new blood. I don't like the recycled stuff that we get in the coaching world all the time. That doesn't make it bad. I was on board with Doug Peterson and thought it was a good hire. I still think it was a good hire. Doesn't matter that it didn't work out 3 years later. I still think it was a good hire. But I like this because I like the unknown, and I don't know where the ceiling lands. Did you just find the next McVay? Did you just find the next Belichick? Did you just find the next Saban or Vince Lombardi? You never know. You don't know.
I'm going to see if I can't pull this up, but this tweet comes this was, I guess, yesterday. It was McVay talking, and he was talking about just not everything, or talking about mostly his team, but he said he envisions a little bit more versatility in his 2025 offense, and notes how impressed he was by the variety of personnel groupings and runs in Liam Coen's 2024 Bucs offense.
Well, here I'm going to give you something else. Go back and listen to Mike Vrabel and the Patriots, and he doesn't necessarily speak to Coen himself, but he says, one thing I watched is we've got to come up with these concepts and how to attack a defense, and it's different schemes. It's this, it's that. It's not all the same stuff. It's not one scheme, it's multiple things. And so I think they're looking at these guys that are changing week by week. We talk about that defensively, what Belichick did for years. No, you're kind of changing each week to, okay, we're going to use this, we're going to use that. Now, you got to be who you are to some degree. You've got to have your principles, but I think that's what we're seeing here. And there's some frustration in L.A. with Matthew Stafford because he can only play a certain way, and so that kind of limits your offense. The question is, how much can they do with Trevor Lawrence? How much can they do under center? How much will they do from shotgun? How much will they do with him on the run? Those are the things. What can you do with your quarterback? Well, they can do more with, let's just say, what maybe a McVay can do with Stafford, because Stafford can't move. So I think that is a part of this puzzle as well. Yeah, there's some creativity, there's some new influence. You're going to hear players, not plays, all the time, which is what a lot of people want all the time anyway. So I think that if you go, somebody asked me today, actually Aaron Schachter upstairs asked me this. What would he have done this year for the Jags? And I said, well, that's a great question, and I don't want to hindsight it too much, but I would think three things come to my mind. One, you better hire a better defensive coordinator than they had, because they had the worst defense in the league, and Doug didn't do a great job there. Two, he's going to call plays. It's going to be his offense, and there will be creativity, because it seems like Doug's offense didn't call plays, got stale. And three, it really looks like he'll be able to run the football, and they would have run the football better than they did this year. Even though the Jags tried, they didn't do it well. So I think there was evidence that he did all those things. Now, I'm not the defense coordinator part, but the evidence of the other two things in Tampa this year alone with Baker Mayfield. So I think that's what I would say. Now, does that lead to 10 wins? I'm not sure. But it's a great question, like how different would it have looked with this roster? What would he have done with this roster? Well, one of those important things is still on the table, and he's got to get it right, is hire the right defensive coordinator, because Doug didn't do that. Hey, let's do this. We got to take a break. I want to get Joe Traynor in, a former University of Rhode Island coach. I think we're going to try to get him in. He might actually be in there right now. Let's hit a break, get that all settled, and get more on Liam Coen. We're kind of digging deep now on Liam Coen. Where did this all begin? We know the recent history of the Bucs, but where did it all start, even back in the college days from up in New England? We hope to talk about that. Coming up next, Brent and Austin Show on the Action Sports Shacks 24/7 Network. It's one of the hot spots in the area.
Welcome you to String Sports Brewery out at the beach. Big crowd on hand tonight. The fans are here.
And now, the newest hot spot at the beach is open. String Sports Brewery in Jax Beach has opened its doors with rave reviews.
We're going to be fans forever.
Cozy up to the bar. Grab a seat in the sports-themed restaurant, or grab a seat outside and feel that breeze coming off the beach as the weather warms. Just like the original location in Springfield, try the popular beer menu and come for lunch or dinner too, because the food is fantastic. He's got some exciting news heading into 2025 as well. Christian Kirk. It's where we hosted Jags Report Live in the football season, and the String Sports Brewery staff can't wait to host you. Hey, welcome back here to String Sports Brewery. And if you haven't checked out the new location in Jax Beach, which many of you have, you got to do it. String Sports Brewery, now with 2 locations in Springfield and now open in Jax Beach on Penman Road.
2024 provided plenty of memorable moments for the Jacksonville Armada on the pitch, including another conference championship game appearance for Tommy Krasanovich's under-23 men's team.
They sit in the dying moments.
Debuting this year for the first time, the girls in blue, as the Armada fielded a women's under-23 side in the WPSL and made its presence known with some highlight moments.
Potential goal of the season.
Then attention turned to the future, with MLS Next teams representing the Armada badge in 3 age divisions this fall, including an under-19 squad ranking among the best in the state. Those teams are a big focus on Fleet and Footy, covering the big soccer stories each week on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
I'll put one in the back of the net for you.
Join us for player profiles, fun interviews, and the very latest on the Fleet and all things footy. That's every Thursday at 2 p.m.
You trust CGC to make your water great, and now you can trust CGC with your plumbing needs as well. Fast, convenient scheduling, licensed and insured. A quick call away at 904-552-1242.
You never know when you're going to have an issue with a shower, toilet, or maybe it's a sink that sometimes is easy to fix. All right, let's be honest. I'm not fixing anything. I'm totally staging this because when I have a plumbing problem, I call CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing.
Trained professionals, transparent pricing, customer satisfaction. Small problem or even a bigger issue. Right now, save 10% off a new Rinnai tankless water heater. The experts with 25 years of experience at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing can do it all. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. For a limited time, CGC is waiving the trip charge on all related plumbing calls. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579.
Here on Spring Sports Media Day on Action Sports Jax.
It's an opportunity, an education beyond the classroom and the sports arena. Life skills, testing skills, social skills. It's called High School 912, a program focused on maximizing the growth of students in academics, sports, and life. And here's your chance to get involved. If you're a local business, or if you just want to make a donation to help support programs like ACT and SAT boot camps, career days, Leadership Academy, Financial Literacy Academy, and so much more.
Another Nice High School Panther, Jack Cole.
High School 912 supports and hosts high school sporting events and several media days throughout the year. For more information on how you can get involved, visit jaxhighschool912.com.
Baker Sports is local sports. Uniforms from Pop Warner and Little League to travel ball, high school, and college. They make you look good. They help you play good. Baker Sports has been helping families make memories that will last a lifetime with their Baker's Buckets. We've got a lot of these filled with baseballs and softballs in the garage. I've been throwing batting practice to Ty and Kaylee for years and also sit on the Baker's Bucket, catching Kaylee while she practices her pitching. Yeah! Baker Sports is homegrown, and a lot of employees that used to play on local ball fields now work for Baker Sports, now helping you look good, play good, and make memories of your own. Visit Bakersport.com to see what Baker Sports can do for you. Custom apparel, Nike, Under Armour, Adidas, embroidery, screen printing, and more. Baker Sports is local sports from Jacksonville to anywhere in the Southeast. Bakersport.com.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austin Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
Oh, yeah, by the way, Brian Thomas Jr. off to the Pro Bowl. And he's a finalist for the Offensive Rookie of the Year. Liam Coen, you get to work with that. Outside of Trevor Lawrence, I wonder who the most excited position group would be for the Jaguars. And I haven't thought about that until I just raised the question. So, I mean, I think obviously Trevor takes the cake. I would be excited. But I kind of wonder if it's like the offensive lineman or the running back room is where my mind goes next. Like when Doug Peterson got hired, you're like, oh, the tight ends, they're going to like this. Not to say the tight ends won't like it here with Liam Coen. I just don't feel that way, right? That was a Doug Peterson thing in Philadelphia. So Is Brian Thomas Jr. going to be unleashed even more in this offense? I don't know. I don't get that sense. I think he's going to thrive wherever and whoever's coaching. So I think, as we're seeing in the chat here, I think you guys are right. I think we're on the same page. I think it's running backs. I think how are you going to best use Tank Bigsby and also Tank Bigsby and Travis Etienne. All right, we're trying to get Joe Traynor in from University of Rhode Island, so I might have to do a little bit of this live on air. I don't know. We're going to try it, I think, see if Joe can hear us right now. I think Hamby's a little concerned that his mic's not turned on. So, if Joe, can you hear us? And is your mic turned on?
Nope, he's not up.
He's not up? Okay. I would just give him a call, Hamby. You got his number? And just walk him through it if you can. I know he's got to get somewhere about at 11:30, so we'll try to get him on and definitely walk him through it there. But probably got to hit a little something on his microphone to get him going. We'll try to get a little more background. That's what we're trying to do with Liam Coen and a guy that was the head coach at the University of Rhode Island is Joe Traynor, and then Liam Coen was on that staff in 2011 as we continue to go deeper and deeper. And I try to use some of my connections back in the day because really where it all started for Liam Coen after high school and then playing at UMass. And I told you some of those Mark Whipple, keep that name in, Mark Whipple connections. Yeah, Tom Penders. Yes, he did coach at Rhode Island. I like you guys that know some of the Rhode Island history here. Brown, then Liam Coen went to his first coaching gig was at Brown as a quarterbacks coach. After that, he went to Rhode Island under Joe Traynor, who we're trying to get on, pass game coordinator and quarterbacks coach. He's really worked with the quarterbacks a lot. Brown went back to as a quarterbacks coach, then UMass, quarterbacks coach, pass game coordinator, and then went to Maine. And Maine is where the things started to turn even more, because Maine is where he worked with Shane Waldron. Waldron ended up working under McVay. Waldron said to McVay, hey, what about this guy over here? You might want to take a look. And then that's how he got connected with the Rams. He goes to the Rams. He's an assistant wide receivers coach, so not a quarterbacks coach there, from 2018 and 19. Then in 20, he's the assistant quarterbacks coach, and then goes to Kentucky to be the OC. Hey, I want to try to call plays. Does that. Goes back to the Rams. He's the OC there under McVay, but we still know it's McVay's offense. Goes back to Kentucky, says, hey, I got to have my own thing. They take him back. He does that. And then he goes to Tampa, and he's the offensive coordinator. So that's the route. And it's an unusual route, quite frankly, because Brown, Rhode Island, UMass, Maine, and then boom, to the Rams. But again, McVay influence here is huge. I think Mark Whipple early on influence is huge. And Whipple's a guy that did end up in the NFL and coaching, and recently was at even Nebraska in 2022 as the offensive coordinator. So, yeah, there's a lot of layers to this. Yeah, Glenn, you're all over it. Jim Herrick, another Rhode Island college basketball coach, yes. And he was with Lamar Odom at the time. Then they kind of got in a little bit of trouble up there in the basketball program. But they've had some good coaches over the years. And so Liam Coen, again, is the story here on a Friday, Brent and Austen show. We've got more coming up with Austin in about a half hour. He's going to join us from South Florida. We're trying to get some connection here with former head coach at the University of Rhode Island that coached on the staff with Liam Coen back some now 12, 13 years ago. And we're still waiting on official word from the Jacksonville Jaguars, so I keep checking my email on that. We have not seen that yet from the Jags. It's a little bit of a slow play here to finalize things and make sure everything's in order. And you do wonder when the news conference would be. I'm thinking now that we don't have official word, we're not getting a news conference most likely until Monday, is probably the story here in Jacksonville when it comes to Liam Coen. So a lot of the conversation about Coen, not only about the background, but about what he did with Tampa. And I retweeted something today, and if you don't know the numbers, and when I asked the question, hey, how do you like this? This is why Shad Khan likes this. This is why Trevor Lawrence is going to like this. This is why Brian Thomas Jr. and the running backs and everybody else are going to like this. Because here's what he did with the Bucs. And by the way, I think this is an important thing to note. The Bucs actually had Dave Canales, who ended up going to Carolina. So he had already done a good job with Baker Mayfield and the Bucs to get him to the playoffs, Todd Bowles and company. They won a playoff game, I believe, 2 years ago. And then even with some of that success and Canales going to Carolina and getting that gig, Coen comes in the door and he still improves on 2023 from the Bucs in a big way. Like points per game. They went from 20th to 4th. Yards per game, 23rd to 3rd. Yards per play, 20th to 4th. Yards per carry, 32nd to 3rd. And EPA per snap, if you like those things, 17th to 4th. So that's why people are excited about Liam Coen. That's why he's got so much attention around the NFL and here in Jacksonville. And he's looked at as a guy that can really come in and make a huge difference. The Jags were middle of the road in so many things and maybe back of the road in so many things, even on offense, that I think there's a lot of room for improvement here in Jacksonville to show an immediate jump, an immediate improvement here in Jacksonville for Liam Coen on the offensive side. And we know this. I mean, you can almost hire anybody and their defense is going to be better. So I continue to say year one under Liam Coen is going to be good. I'm convinced year one under Liam Coen is going to be good because this is set up. And this isn't a knock on Coen. I think you can almost hire anybody this cycle, and I think 2025 is going to be a pretty good year. There's going to be a jump up. The Jags are not going to lose 10 games by one score. They are not going to only force 9 turnovers in a season, which was a record low. They are going to do some of those things just naturally better because Murphy's Law says so. But then you add in some of this, some of the juice that like a coach brings, like Doug Peterson did bring. You add some of that in, and now you're like, okay, can you piece it together? And my big deal here is, what does it look like in 26, 27, and 28? Hemby's Burner says Jags roster very comparable to the Bucs. Besides their D-line, they got that with Big Villa, Villa Veda, and the boys. Yeah, I think it has some comparable pieces. I wonder, their offensive line feels rugged to me. And obviously, Wirfs is unbelievable. The Jags don't have that. I don't look at the Jags offensive line and say, oh, it's a rugged offensive line. And they don't have a guy like Wirfs, and not many people do. So there's some of that. I'm curious, and I've seen some comments like what Cohen's going to have a say in the GM. When they have this alignment, what will Coen see in this offensive line? How much improvement does the offensive line need? I think everybody's like, well, it needs a lot. Well, remember, this offense, this football team is highly under contract for 2025. Like most of it is. How much can you really move? Is part of this plan is like, hey, you're going to have to eat some dead money, Shad Khan. Is that part of the plan? Is that part of the vision? Is that part of the transparency in these kind of meetings? Like, yeah, we don't have a ton of flexibility, but we're going to have to do this if we want to get better. We can get better on the offensive line. We've made some not so great moves. Or are they like, hey, this line is acceptable and we can work with it. I think we have Joe Traynor in now. I think I started to hear him. Yeah, we do. There he is.
Here we go. Let's go, fellas.
By the way, that was harder than beating Brown University on a Saturday afternoon in Rhode Island, wasn't it?
And I'm the village idiot, so I don't know technology very well, so I appreciate your assistance working with me there.
Hey,
today, okay?
I'm doing fantastic. We're excited here in Jacksonville, and I'm always excited to talk to a former roadie Ram, and so I appreciate you taking a few minutes. I know you got to go here soon, so we won't keep you long, but what are your thoughts overall on the fact that a guy that coached under you in 2011 is now the head football coach, at least most likely, here in Jacksonville in 2025?
Yeah, one of the bigger mistakes I made in coaching was when I was at Villanova, not recruiting Liam. And he goes on to have a great career, an All-American career, national championship level player. So, you knew early on. I mean, he was the son of a coach. He was mature beyond his years. You knew really early on that you had somebody special there, and he just had his strength, I think, is he's very, very smart, but he's approachable and he doesn't come across as the smartest guy in the room when he enters it, which I think is a key to his success. He's a football junkie, and you knew he was going to have tremendous success in the profession.
Joe Traynor with us, former Rhode Island coach, and Liam Coen was under him back in 2011 as a quarterback coach and I think passing game coordinator. We've seen some video out of Kentucky and just watching his style of coaching. I'm sure it's changed in a decade. He's matured and probably learn new things, not just schematically, but how to communicate. But in your world, in coaching world, communication is so key. He looks like he's a very positive affirmation guy, pump up the players while also obviously being tough enough to be critical. And I think that's been very important nowadays for today's athlete, even in the NFL. Doesn't matter they're making a ton of money. These are guys and quarterbacks specifically that get criticized left and right. He, at least from the little bit I've seen, strikes me as a guy that's going to pump you up when you need to pump up, but also say, hey, we need to fix this.
Yeah, obviously there's successful coaches, many of whom played at a high level, many of them played at different positions. But even as a quarterback, the thing, he was able to park stuff as soon as it happened. I think that's one of the keys, certainly at the highest level of the NFL. Like, he wasn't going to be someone that dwelled on a bad decision two or three series ago. As a coach, it was always, hey, what's the next play? What's the next play? So, and I think quarterbacks love that because he wasn't a guy that was going to rehash stuff. Obviously, there's teachable opportunities in a game and in a season, but he wasn't going to he wasn't going to hang on to stuff that might have happened last quarter or last half. And I think that forward thinking, hey, play the next play. What's the next play look like? Certainly in the quarterback room is attractive, and from an offensive standpoint, is going to, has been a big part of his success.
I'm sure you were a heavy influence on him in his time and all the different stops. Every coach gets that. But I think of playing at UMass, and you think of Mark Whipple. And that's a guy that I don't think everybody around the country knows as much as people who are around New England and know football up in that area. Mark Whipple was this offensive guy, right? He was kind of a guru. How much of the Whipple offense from UMass and his other stops probably influenced Liam and what he does offensively?
I think tremendously. I mean, I think Whip, and I worked at New Haven after Whip with Tony Sperano, who was, ended up being a head coach in the NFL too. But I think Whip's strength was he was going to showcase and feature the best players in the program on a given week or a given season. Obviously at the next level down, you kind of have to, some years you might have 4 or 5 really good receivers. Some years you might have 2 or 3 good tight ends. And I think Whip's strength was that, and I think that certainly has influenced Liam's thinking too. Hey, who are the best players we're going to war with on a given week, and who can we showcase? And the other thing I thought about Whip, that reminds me, Liam's style reminds me of Whip. Whip was at the forefront of displacing players, right? Like fullbacks in space or tight ends in space. And, now, you joke around now, you watch the game. It's like, how many tight ends are ever in a 3-point stance at the end of the formation? Rarely, right? So, I think, Liam's ability to be creative and obviously it's a game of matchups, right? It's, the NFL's, hey, let's take their worst pass defender and put our best player on him. And so Liam's always going to be trying to, showcase, expose the opponent's weakness and get matchups as best he can. And I think his ability to change week to week within the system, but just to feature different guys based on who we're going to battle with, I think is going to serve him well.
There are really 2 parts of his kind of coaching career as we look at it from afar. There's a lot of different parts, of course, even growing up with Tim Coen, his dad, a coach, and everything else. But you look at the UMass, Rhode Island, Brown, Maine days, and then all of a sudden he makes this jump to the NFL with Sean McVay and the Rams. When that happened, were you like, whoa, how did that that's a pretty unusual jump.
Well, I think he had visited with I think, in talking to Liam, we reconnected. My daughter was going to go to Kentucky, and she works in operations, and he was great. He spent a day with us down there. But I think he ended up going out there on a couple professional development visits, hit it off with them, and I actually think he might have taken the Holy Cross offensive coordinator job with Bobby Chesney, and then shortly thereafter had a chance to go out to with Sean McVay and as an assistant receiver coach. And that was kind of, it didn't, sometimes it didn't surprise me. Obviously the perception is the higher the level, the better the coaching, but Liam, he was a, phenomenal coach early on, and you could see that. And, I think that was his in. I think, a guy like Sean McVay, who kind of, I'm assuming, Liam, I don't know enough about Sean McVay, but they're kind of that same, hey, young, uber energetic, very positive, great projection and ambassador for the program. And I'm sure Liam, benefited tremendously for his time out there. And then, and then went, and then did the NFL, became the coordinator, went back to Kentucky, and then went back to the NFL. So I'm sure all those experiences are going to be of value to Liam as he takes this head job.
Joe, I'm going to let you go in a couple minutes, but let me keep you for like two more. And I appreciate you hanging out with us. Joe Trainer on the Brent and Austen Show on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network here in Jacksonville. Coach at the University of Rhode Island when Liam Coen was the passing game coordinator under Joe Trainer. And there are when 2011, when he's there, did you think, okay, this guy's going to go and do big things? Because I've talked to a bunch of folks from Rhode Island that knew him even as a younger kid, even as a quarterback at LaSalle, and they were like, this kid seemed destined for it. It was almost like he was kind of a whiz kid with that coaching background. Did you sense that, feel that in your even just 1 year around him or as closely as you were around him?
Yeah, he was, yeah, I did. I certainly did. I mean, obviously Darren Rizzi was another guy. I mean, we had some great guys come through there. So, but you knew Liam was wired differently. You knew he was going to be incredibly successful, and he was beyond his years. I mean, he was, even as a player, he was mature beyond his years. He was probably 27, 28 when I had him, maybe, but he had like the mind of a 35-year-old. He was just very precocious and very, you knew he was going to be a special coach down the road.
All right, one more for you. You've done it. You've been an assistant and you're head coach. And at any level, it's different. And I think that's going to be the hurdle here. There's a great unknown. As much as you can know and you feel good and you have confidence, and we do, and we're excited in Jacksonville today. And I love the unknown, by the way. But there is an unknown. And it's a difficult job. It's a billion-dollar industry now in the NFL. You're not just calling plays and getting a game plan and all that. You are doing a whole lot more. What kind of challenge is ahead of him that he'll be able to accomplish all those things that go along with being the head man, not just the play caller?
Well, you know what? I will say this about him too. He was as beloved by the defensive guys as he was the offensive guys. And some guys, especially, as it becomes very segmented, as you go up the food chain, right? But he was a guy that, he would have 20-minute conversations in the office with defensive players, So it wasn't like he was his own little tunnel vision world. Obviously when you're a coordinator, it's the first time you're going to speak to the whole team, right? And that's going to be, serve its unique challenges. But I mean, he's got an attract. The law of attraction type of thing. He's just one of those guys that when you're in the room with him for 5 minutes, his emotional IQ is through the roof. You're in the room with him for 5 minutes. You're like, man, this dude is he's different than most. And a lot of times, especially when you get into we throw out terms like, oh, he's a football savant or that. Some of those guys are so talented that they're brilliant minds, but they struggle to relate to people. And he's a guy. I know it's a land where you get paid and that, but it's still about being able to tap into personalities and getting people to play hard all the time.
What a great visual illustration of Liam Coen, what you just painted there in the last minute or so. Joe Trainer, former University of Rhode Island coach, a nice career in your own right. And I know you're hopping on a train, man, so we appreciate you taking a few minutes, giving us some insight on the Liam Coen. Where are you anyway? Where are you headed?
I'm actually, I'm meeting my son. He plays at the University of Delaware. We're headed down to the pro-life movement in Washington, pro-life march in Washington, D.C.
So you headed to the nation's capital. So there you go.
I'll tell Trump in advance you said hello. How's that sound? All right, fellas. God bless.
Have a good one. Have a good one.
Take care.
All right. Thank you. That's Joe Trainer. And this is a sports show. I'm not touching any of that. But we appreciate him for coming on. How about the last thing that he said about Coen? That
was huge.
That was the last 30 seconds to a minute there.
Yeah.
Was really what stands out when he says that is, okay, you've got to be a great communicator. You've got to be detailed. You've got to be able to relate all those things to to do this job well. But what really sticks out in my mind is, what do you say? Like emotion IQ, high emotion IQ?
Emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
It's huge because you can't relate to guys unless you have it.
But what I pick up there is no wonder why he also blew away the interview. Wonder why, like there was a lot of talk coming out of that late night interview where he did a great job. Now there are others too, like Joe Brady and others, but he did a great job in that interview by all accounts. So, yeah, Nathan D. Yeah, we're here to talk sports. That's right. But anyway, so we'll play that. We'll clip that. I think that's worth kind of getting again and maybe bottling that up. And that's, I think, if you take that 1 minute, what he just said, I think that's why he's the head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars. That's why he's got the meteoric rise, if you will, to where he is at 39 years old. So some great insight from Joe Traynor, who was a coach at the University of Rhode Island for a few years. And Joe had Liam Coen on the staff. I thought it was interesting. He thought he should have got him as a player, too, like at Villanova, which is kind of that same level of play, and ends up at UMass. But maybe the UMass thing was huge because you get Mark Whipple influence. I think Trainor's more of a defensive guy to begin with, and even that part, right? He's like, hey, I'll go talk to the defensive guys. I'm going to talk to everybody. We heard that most recently from Aaron Glenn, right? Aaron Glenn was a guy that said, hey, I know they label me a defensive guy, but I'm a football coach. Like, I talk offense, I talk defense. Like, I'm not just a defensive guy. You do get painted in a certain way. And I think almost like a guy like Doug Peterson wanted to be painted that way. He's like, give me a defensive guy that's just going to handle the defensive stuff. I want to go talk offense. And I wonder if Coen is a little bit more well-rounded than we even think, even though he's an offensive guy. There's a lot of talk about Ben Johnson, just how much Ben Johnson is like offensive guy, mad scientist, locked in. And maybe Coen is even a little bit more well-rounded to build a staff, to relate to even the defensive side of the ball. I think you have to be careful of that as the head coach. You don't want to just be pigeonholed to be, I just favor the offensive guys. Like that there's a subconscious there you don't want. So anyway, that's Joe Traynor, and that's more on Liam Coen. All right, we're going to take a timeout. We've got a scheduled interview about a cycling event coming up we're going to get to here in just a bit. Then we got Austen Lane coming on, and we will continue to talk Liam Coen as we await official word from the Jacksonville Jaguars, although I think they're the last ones to this party, right? Because I think this party's already happening here in Jacksonville. Trent Baalke started this thing, including the search. And a lot of folks think Liam Coen was his top guy. Was that more because he'll work with me? Well, it turns out that didn't work out. Now Baalke's out of work. And 2 days later, Jacksonville Jaguars move fast to land Liam Coen. More on the Brent Austin Show on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network coming up. If you need a quality play this football season at your home, call That One Painter First Coast. Locally owned and operated, experienced employees, no builder-grade materials. And there's more, and for that, we throw it to Noah Schlicksup. That One Painter First Coast can apparently help your kicking game, too.
Well, after my failure on skinny sticks last year on Creekside Game Day, I've spent a lot of time out here at Creekside practicing my kicks. There's only one issue. How is that even possible? The good news is I know exactly who can help. That One Painter can handle all your painting needs, from field goal posts to cabinets to stucco. They got you covered. Though they may not be able to help with my kicking, they can certainly help with the posts. Call That One Painter First Coast today for all your painting needs at 904-495-1373.
People helping people. It's at the core of what Alive Credit Union is all about, and it's been that way for over 70 years. From the start in 1954 to today, the mission remains to inspire financial wellness and give you a financially fit lifestyle. Alive Credit Union and its employees are committed to not only serving their valued members, but also our community here in Northeast Florida. I had a chance to see that commitment firsthand as Alive partnered with our Action Sports Jax 24/7 team to bring you Armada men's and women's soccer broadcasts. Inside the 18, it is a shot, and it's a goal! Chloe Chivers! And that connection to the community continues with Alive Credit Union's support of the Police Athletic League of Jacksonville. Alive Credit Union's commitment to our community also involves serving the financial needs of all first responders through the recent merger partnership with City and Police Federal Credit Union. Join the community and become a member of Alive Credit Union today. Find out the many ways you can be inspired in financial wellness at alivecu.coop.
Burgers or breakfast, you can get it all at Whataburger. Try something new on the menu or an all-time favorite like the Whataburger Patty Melt. And now you can have breakfast here at Whataburger 12 hours a day, 11 p.m. until 11 a.m. Menu items like the bacon taquito, sausage taquito, honey butter chicken biscuit. Whether you work the late night shift, just want a snack early in the morning to get your day started, or a little pick-me-up late in the morning, 12 hours a day, breakfast served, 11 p.m. until 11 a.m. A dozen locations in Jacksonville. You can order pickup or delivery and download the Whataburger app. New rewards members get free Whataburger items when placing their first online order. Just download the app. And for us coffee drinkers, Whataburger has all new hot coffee and iced coffee too. Satisfy that coffee craving at Whataburger 24/7, and it comes in a variety of flavors. Burgers, breakfast, coffee, and so much more. Whataburger, just like you like it.
For the game day hustle and every day in between. Juggling my show, Jag Social, to going under the Friday night lights and a social life, it's a daily tournament. But this ride, MVP status. The all-new 2024 Lincoln Nautilus isn't just my car, it's my personal locker room, office on the go, and VIP lounge on wheels. Let's talk tech. My profile remembers everything from customizing my dash display to setting the ambient lighting and my signature scent. And wireless charging, essential for live tweeting scores. Whether I'm packing for a beach day with friends or heading to the gym, there's space for every passion. After dominating all day, this becomes my recovery zone. The massage feature is like having a personal PT on call. Life's a non-stop game, but with this ride, I'm always on my A game. The 2024 Lincoln Nautilus. Drive your passion.
If you don't see a pit, it ain't legit. When you hear that, you think Bono's Pit Barbecue, a staple in Northeast Florida now for 75 years. A place that feels like home with friendly service, a meeting place for friends, family, or business occasions. On the menu, the corn nuggets are a favorite in our house, but there's something for everyone. Sandwiches, platters, salads, sides, desserts, and family feasts. You see Bono's all over the place in Northeast Florida. You know, there are almost 20 locations in the Jacksonville area now, so stop on by, sit down, and dine in with Bono's. You can also take it to go. There are drive-thrus in many of the locations, and they have delivery options too. Just download the Bono's app to make things easy. I signed up for the loyalty program, and you can too, to get special offers. If Jacksonville is home, few things feel more Jacksonville than Bono's Pit Barbecue. Celebrate 75 years and many more to come. Bono's Pit Barbecue. If you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austin Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
Hey, welcome back to the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network, Brent and Austin Show. And hey, we're ready for some hockey tomorrow night, and looking forward to this. We're really excited about having these games on MyTV Jax. And there's how you find MyTV Jax, all different ways, 30.2 if you're on the antenna, and then you can see it on the screen. But Xfinity, Uverse, DirecTV, Dish TV, and we are showing a handful of games this year for the Iceman this season. We already did one back in December. It was fantastic, and tomorrow's going to be even better. Tomorrow night, 7 o'clock. Go down to the arena if you can. Watch the Solar Bears and Iceman play. They're tied for third place right now in the division with 47 points. Both are about 8 out of first place with the Florida Everblades. Still plenty of season to go. So both good squads. Should be a good game. It's Star Wars night. And if you can't get down there, you can watch on TV. And by the way, a little advance notice, we'll also have one next Friday, too, with the Iceman, and a couple of more coming up in March and April. So stay tuned on that front. The Iceman with a very good tweet today as they were highlighting a player by the name of Liam Coughlin on their roster. Smart move this morning with the Liam Coen news. A little Coughlin last name doesn't hurt as well. Good play by the Jacksonville Icemen and their marketing team on social media to highlight Liam Coughlin. Again, we'll have more coverage of the Icemen even tonight, but into tomorrow as well with a 7 o'clock drop of the puck. All right, let's continue on. Now, we were supposed to be out cycling a little bit on Tuesday. There's a cool new project in town, and we were going to do the show from there. And I was like, it's like 34 degrees. I didn't really want to stay outside for 3 hours in 34 degrees. So we rescheduled that. But we didn't reschedule this interview. And right now we have Todd Adicott, who is the chapter president for SORBA. And I'm going to tell you all about that. SORBA means Southern Off-Road Bicycle Association in Jacksonville. And as you can tell, he's got some lined up. Maybe go for a spin. But it's even a little bit chilly to take a spin on a bike these days. What's up, man?
Hey, good morning. Good morning. And congratulations on everything going on with the Jaguars. I just want to give my input on that, too.
Well, hey, if you like it, we like it. I feel like everybody likes it. It feels like a win today, and wins have been tough to come by.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We're going to have a big win this weekend, though.
I know. Well, tell us a little bit about this. It's a cool thing you guys have going on. We met about a month ago, by the way, and we're going to talk more about what these guys are doing in a lot of different ways. But I bet there's something going on here in Jacksonville that a lot of folks don't know about. And you guys have been spearheading this and working on this now for almost a couple of years. So tell us about the event you have coming up on Sunday.
Well, we have we manage a lot of trails in Jacksonville, so I'm into all types of cycling. But our organization directly is mountain biking. So we have a new facility called Trek Trails out on Sunbeam Road. It's an old landfill, and this weekend we are having our first endurance race out there. That's why we were hoping to get you and Austin out there to give it a run, see how it goes. But it's going to be a challenging event. We have 3 different categories. We have a 2-lap race, which is about 16 miles, should take about an hour and a half. We have a 3-hour race, and we have a 6-hour race. Yeah, someone's going to be on a bike for 6 hours riding in loops. They're 8-mile loops, and just doing it over and over. So my wife happens to be one of those crazy people.
Well, and this is like open to anybody, right? Like, what's the mountain bike community like, and how does it maybe differ from the cycling community in Jacksonville? Because it's a big one. All you got to do is drive around, and you'll see that on a weekend or any time of the day. But how's this differ from what we do see, potentially guys and women and people of all ages just going out for a ride and with a pack of people on a Saturday morning?
So cycling in Jacksonville has grown immensely, and it's an across-the-board sport. We have people that ride road, we have people that ride gravel, and we have people that ride mountain bikes. Mountain bikes are more the extreme end of it, but a lot of people cross-train, and they ride all different bikes. This event, yes, is open to the public. You can sign up day of event. Again, this is at 4520 Sunbeam Road, Trek Trails at Otero Park. You can sign up morning of the event. We start racing at 9 o'clock. It's open to all age categories. We have kids. Kids will just do 1 lap. Then we have the two lap version for more of the entry level, or the guys that are extremely fast and are going to rip 2 laps. There will be a lot of those. And then we have the endurance racers, 3-hour racers and 6-hour racers. That's just a matter of setting a pace and rolling. But it's a challenging event. It's 8 miles of off-road single track racing. So you're riding some jumps, some bumps, a lot of turns, if you've never been off-road, it's a challenging thing. Thus the reason we wanted you guys out there to show you how tough some of these other sports out there are. But it's going to be a great event. We'll have music rolling. It's a lively event. We usually end up with, I'm expecting somewhere between 60 and 100 racers. This is our first time doing this event. We will also have probably 100 to 200 spectators just watching, heckling. We have cold beer out there, sodas. Come on out and join us. It's just a fun time.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. By the way, the weather does look better on Sunday. Yeah, it's going to warm up quite a bit, and it looks like you're going to have a good day and probably the first really nice day in Jacksonville, it seems like, in quite some time with the sun shining and everything else. Again, Todd Adicott joining us from SORBA, which, by the way, SORBA, Southern Off-Road Bicycle Association in Jacksonville, nonprofit and local chapter of SORBA. There's 47 chapters, right, in 7 states across the South. So this is a big organization. This is the Jacksonville version, and we'll send out some links, by the way, how you can get get involved, but Sorba Jax, S-O-R-B-A, jax.org is the easiest way to get even some more information. Ironically, this is called the Icebreaker MTB Challenge coming up on Sunday. You got to tell us before we let you go a little bit more about Trek Trails, though, because this project has been pretty cool. And you said it, and you kind of just said it, but I think it doesn't, like, people have to know, this is the former landfill on Sunbeam Road that has been put to this use.
Yes.
And this is just the beginning, it sounds like, with what you guys are doing.
Right. So I started negotiating with the landowners about 3.5 years ago to get this land repurposed for something that's usable for the community. Trek Trails is open to the public, free of charge, no cost. It is 100% built by volunteers, fundraised by volunteers. We have raised about $500,000 for this project to this point. The trail has also been granted the Florida Greenways and Trail designation, which is great by the state of Florida, because what it does is it helps us offset any liability that we may have with the property. One of the reasons that they give us that is that or one of the stipulations is we must have it open to the public free of charge. So we're repurposing a landfill. We've got approximately 8 miles of bike trail. We have in process right now, we are building a 5K cross-country running trail. That's been sponsored by Jacksonville Track Club. They've donated about $185,000 towards that project. It's a park open for a lot of things. We've actually had bird watchers out there walking the property. They found species of birds out there that have never been seen in Northeast Florida. So it's just a cool place. You feel like you're out in the woods, and it's something different. So I love it. I call myself a farmer, and I grow trails.
That's pretty cool. That's a good way to do it. About 65 feet of elevation out there too, which is kind of neat on those trails.
The only elevation in Northeast Florida. That's why I say this weekend, this race will be one of the most difficult endurance races in the Southeast.
So anyway, that's Trek Trails, by the way. So if you want to go out there anytime, obviously open to the public, that's 4520 Sunbeam Road. It's also where this race is going to take place, this Icebreaker MTB Challenge coming up on Sunday. Registration begins on site at 7 a.m. Also check out sorbajax.org for everything that Todd and all the folks are doing to help bicycling and also mountain biking in Jacksonville. And there's a bigger part of this for all these guys, and I think hopefully we'll even share more of this as you guys go along and continue to build, but getting more kids on bikes is really the passion, right? More families outdoors together, all these things. Like we live in a great place to be able to go to the beach, go to play golf, go play pickleball, go play tennis. This is just another thing for families to do, and I know one of your missions, get some kids on bikes in areas maybe that normally wouldn't be able to.
Yeah, we've been working with the local Boys and Girls Club to help them with promoting cycling within their organization. We've helped them receive a couple of grants. They have actually put up a building, purchased bikes, and we helped them build a trail on one of their locations. So our goal, yes, is to try and get kids, let's get them away from the TV, away from playing the video games all the time and riding a bike. There's a lot of kids that don't necessarily fit into mainstream sports. Cycling happens to be a bike or a sport that anybody can do. But a lot of times, some of the best cyclists are the kids that just didn't fit into something else. And they have a focus that they can focus directly on one thing, and that's pedaling a bike and pedaling it hard.
You guys are doing a cool thing. Great stuff. We're going to do more. We'll get out there. Promise we'll get out there once Austin's back from fight camp, and we'll find our way out there just so I can at least beat him on the trails. I can't beat him in a cage or anywhere else, but definitely on the trails. So Todd Adicott, keep up the good work. Good luck this weekend, and hope it goes fantastic on a nice day Sunday out there at Trek Trails. Thanks, man.
Thank you. We appreciate the invite.
All right. That's Todd Adicott, and that's how you can get involved. We'll put some other things out there as well. Killer Tofu, I wonder if they have an Atlanta Sorba. I don't know, but I think they're pretty
He's shaking his
heavily
head yes,
involved.
So
he said yes. Yeah, so he does. So, again, go to sorbajax.org, and I think you'll probably get more of those kind of things. I've met with these guys about a month and a half ago or so. They're really doing some cool things, and we might even get the show involved with a little bit more of what they're doing. So, we will continue to talk about that and what they're doing. But this weekend is a great event coming up on Sunday out there on Sunbeam Road. And so check it out, sorbajacks.org. Brent Martineau, Jason Hamby, Austen Lane soon, I think we'll be in just a little bit. And Liam Coen, when are you going to officially be named the head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars? We think it's coming soon. One of our favorites, Amanda Winkle here at the station, just emailed this to everybody, and I didn't know this. This is good. He would become, Liam Coen, he's going to become the youngest coach in Jags history. Now, I would have thought that was about a slam dunk. But did you know that Jack Del Rio, when he was named the coach in 2003, 39 years old, 9 months and 12 days. Meanwhile, Cohen's 39 years old, 2 months and 16 days. I guess that makes sense that Del Rio was that young because by the time he was done, and it was a pretty long tenure in Jacksonville, he was still a pretty young guy. But I guess I didn't put it in the context. Right now, 39 feels so young and a hot shot kind of offensive guy. So the Jags have actually hired pretty young in the past. There, and I think even Gus Bradley, let me check Gus's age now. He's 58 years old now, which means 12 years ago when he got hired, would have been 46. So, yeah, he was a little bit, he's not in that under 40, right? He's not that 39, 38, 35-year-old guy that really we thought was in play here in this cycle. 38-year-old Ben Johnson, 39-year-old Liam Coen, 35-year-old Joe Brady, 36-year-old Kellen Moore, all in for interviews. So the Jags were going young in that respect. All right, we got Austen Lane down there in South Florida.
He just got up. It looks like to grab something, so give him about 20 seconds.
Oh, okay. Bad thumbs up by you, Amber.
All good.
He's already leaving the show. He just jumped on for a minute. Are you surprised we haven't had word yet? Are you getting nervous on the uh-oh. Are we going to change here on the show?
Sorry.
Are you like tied up? Is this a magic trick?
My bad, Austin.
No, man, we're all good. Just got back from the gym. How we doing, everybody?
Well, listen, if there's a guy that could change on the show, Austen Lane is probably one that can get away with it.
We've shown him.
Yeah, but that's going to be for the OnlyFans premium members, Brent.
How was the workout today?
Good. Very good. Very sweaty. But, yeah, everything was great, man. And obviously, I kind of woke up with a little extra added motivation, given what's happened now with Jacksonville and how the coaching search has looked.
What do you make of all this as you saw it unfolding yesterday? Really started to hit around 5 or 6 o'clock. Remember, if we go back, we thought, well, maybe they take a breath. It would probably reset. I think our thought was if they were going to go after Liam Coen again, but was it really going to work? And if not, this might take a little bit. And then, boom, well, the Liam Coen chase actually worked. Pretty wild night last night.
Yeah, man, it was definitely a wild night. They get their guy. I think this was the top guy all along, reports are saying now. But it just kind of reminds me, Brent, that, it's not about the destination. It's about the haters that you make along the way. And the Jacksonville Jaguars right now seems like they got a couple haters in Tampa. But listen, it's amazing how just one decision of letting your GM go has snowballed you now into all of a sudden we're optimistic again. All of a sudden it seems like there's a little more hope again, right? And now all of a sudden the bad optics have just kind of washed away. Now people are wondering, well, what the heck happened in Tampa? Why couldn't Tampa get the deal done and everything like this? And all of a sudden people forget now about Trent Baalke and what this process was like.
Yeah, one thing we talked about here on the show today earlier was Shad Khan, right? I put a poll out yesterday. It's like who recovered from the rest of the week on Thursday better, Shad Khan or Tony Baselli? And I think both were winners, quite frankly, on Thursday in the eyes of the fans, which is fascinating, even that part of the process. But more specifically, Shad Khan. He's an owner of this team that hasn't won enough, and not even close to has won enough. He's taken a lot of criticism, and some of it's well-earned, especially the last couple of weeks with the whole Trent Baalke thing, which was easy. This didn't have to go down this way. But the ability to recover is important. The ability to make things right and sometimes quickly is a good trait. And he did that. And I think, while I'm not going to over the moon praise Shad Khan because he kind of set the table for it to end up the way it did this week in a weird way. I think the pivot was pretty strong. And I think he once again shows that, hey, people want to work with this Jags organization. You've got to put the parameters in the right spot. And Schott also showing, hey, if he wants a guy, he's going to go get his guy, from Urban Meyer to Liam Coen. And he held nothing back, including the private jet and probably a pretty big bag, Austin, to go get the guy he wanted.
No, without a doubt, right? And listen, did it take a point to get here? Yeah. Was it the easiest road to get here? Not even close, right? You definitely took the long road here, but I think once again, like, this has kind of been, one of the themes of Shad Khan is like who he leans on, right? And who he put trust in. And I think maybe more than anybody, it was Trent Baalke. And when he finally saw, like, hey, even though I trust you, even though I take what you say at heart, it's not working out because we can't get the coaches that we want. So, like, once that light bulb went off, once he had that epiphany and he decided to pivot, you're seeing, I think, a brand new organization now. And obviously you get the coach, which is very important. That's, I think, priority number one. Now the GM's next, but also it's got to be, okay, Shad Khan, now who you listening to, right? Is it going to be just Tony Baselli? Are you going to bring other people in line as well? Because this is the next step, right? Like, yes, it's exciting. Start the parade, even though it's freezing outside, but get a parade going for Liam Coen. Welcome him with open arms. Get ready to punch any kind of Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan that wants to cause chaos. That's fine. But now we got to go back and wonder, okay, who are we listening to now? What's the next course of action? And who is the next GM going to be?
Yeah, and I think it does restore some faith in the time being. Like, again, you just mentioned it all, but I think it's worth repeating. Just give these three things that happened in about a 36-hour span. Okay, really, it's a fourth thing, but the one set it off is Liam Cohen's going back to Tampa. You get spurned. It's right in the middle of our show on Wednesday morning. The Jags look bad. Shad Khan looks bad. This is like, whoa, egg on the face, bad PR, everything. And in like a 5-hour span, they go from that to boom, make the move that everybody's been waiting for. Fire Baalke. Okay, too little, too late, some said. What did I say? It's never too late. It wasn't too late. They pivot so quick. They get Baselli involved in the process because they need somebody else. That's a guy that they're probably going to have some infrastructure built for anyway in some capacity. So, okay, another good move. Make the guy that's in the Hall of Fame that really cares about this organization part of the process. Oh, and then go get Coen, who feels really good to the fan base, and you wrestle him away from somebody else, you actually get a win. So that's three moves in about 36 hours that are well done after looking bad. It's fire Baalke, Baselli involved, hire Coen. But I also say this, like you just said, Austin, it's not done. There are still a lot of moves that still need to be made. Some are transactional. Other ones are very subtle that people probably won't hear or see that need to get this organization in the right place, because I'll continue to say it. Hiring a new coach, getting rid of Baalke was not the end of the story. That's not the Band-Aid. That is a Band-Aid fix. That's not the real fix. There's more fixes to be made to make this a sustainable win for the decade. That's what I would now call this. What are you going to do to win for the decade? They've got a stadium coming open in 2028. How do you win the decade, the rest of it, for the Jacksonville Jaguars?
Yeah, I mean, I think getting rid of Baalke was the biggest cosmetic thing that you could have done in terms of how it looks, in terms of optics. But once again, and I've said this many times now on the show, it's not about just one cog. It's about the entire machine. And hopefully now we're there in the preliminary steps of rebuilding this whole machine and how it's going to operate, how the structure is going to be, and what the goals are going to be. And, obviously we've talked about it a lot with an EVP, a la the Detroit Lions. It seems like they're on the steps. They're making the strides now. They're going to lead you to believe, okay, this thing's going to change for the better.
Hey, let's do this. Take a time out before we get too late on it. When we come back, more with Austin down in South Florida. More, of course, on Liam Coen as we approach the noon hour in Jacksonville, waiting for official word. I can pretty much tell you this. It doesn't look like we're having a press conference today. I don't think we were anyway, but I think if the news was announced earlier, there's an outside chance of having one. This looks like a Monday presser coming to Jacksonville, although I always say in my mind, wait a minute, they introduced Doug Peterson on a Saturday morning. That's not usually where you want to introduce from a news cycle standpoint, but I would suspect Monday is in line, especially given the family situation that has been talked about with Liam Coen. He's got to get his family in place. How's their son doing? And you want your family here when you get introduced as a first-time head coach in the NFL. So a lot of dominoes still to fall, but the bottom line is I think the big domino has fallen here in Jacksonville. They know who their next head coach is going to be. Now it's just a matter of details still to come and then where they go from here. So we'll continue to talk about that when we come back on the Brent and Austen Show on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 Network.
When it comes to trucks, I know exactly what I want. And at Bozard Ford, they make it easy to get exactly that. Let's go make this truck a little more my style. With Bozard Built, I can create my perfect truck right here. Lift kit? Check. Premium wheels? You bet. Advanced lighting package? Oh yeah. The Bozard team works their magic. From bumper to tailgate, I'm making this truck mine. It's everything that I wanted and more. From the field to the gym to weekend adventures. This truck's built for my journey. Bozard Built. Customized for your lifestyle, built to exceed your expectations. Check out the inventory and available options at bozardbuilt.com. Unleash your dream ride. Customized, covered, and Bozard approved.
When it's time to get a new car for anyone in your family, just remember, nobody but Nimnick, the #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville. Get the latest price breaks on 2023 and 2024 models or the newest 2025 vehicles in the showroom on Phillips Highway or shop online at nimnickbuickgmc.com 24 hours a day. GMC Sierras, Yukons, and the redesigned Acadias, or get the all-new redesigned line with Buicks. It's nobody but Nimnick, and part of the reason why is this is a first-class buying experience here at Nimnick Buick GMC. You're not just a customer, you're a friend. This is about getting a vehicle that best fits you and getting you on the road, and also helping you and your family down the road. Nimnick has a treating you right guarantee, courtesy, respect, fairness, and most Buicks, GMCs, and Jacksonville's only Car Bravo dealer, nobody but Nimnick. Who has put in the most years and stands behind a better experience? Nobody but Nimnick. GMC, we are professional grade. If you need a quality play this football season at your home, call That One Painter First Coast. Locally owned and operated, experienced employees, no builder-grade materials. And there's more, and for that, we throw it to Noah Schlicksup. That One Painter First Coast can apparently help your kicking game, too.
Well, after my failure on skinny sticks last year on Creekside game day, I've spent a lot of time out here at Creekside practicing my kicks. There's only one issue. How is that even possible? The good news is I know exactly who can help. That One Painter can handle all your painting needs, from field goal posts to cabinets to stucco. They got you covered. Though they may not be able to help with my kicking, they can certainly help with the posts. Call That One Painter First Coast today for all your painting needs at 904-495-1373.
2024 provided plenty of memorable moments for the Jacksonville Armada on the pitch, including another conference championship game appearance for Tommy Krasanovich's under-23 men's team.
Ace in the dying moments.
Debuting this year for the first time, the girls in blue, as the Armada fielded a women's under-23 side in the WPSL and made its presence known with some highlight moments.
Potential goal of the season.
Then attention turned to the future, with MLS Next teams representing the Armada badge in 3 age divisions this fall, including an under-19 squad ranking among the best in the state. Those teams are a big focus on Fleet and Footy, covering the big soccer stories each week on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
I'll put one in the back of the net for you.
Join us for player profiles, fun interviews, and the very latest on the Fleet and all things footy. That's every Thursday at 2 p.m.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austin Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
Hey, JP Small Park there, as we showcase and have before in the past. And I think this got Himby's attention because they've renovated the field over there. It's a turf field now. And that's pretty cool. A lot of history there at JP Small Park as baseball season is actually underway. FSCJ plays a game today down at Daytona State. I'll be watching a softball game tomorrow. They better not do this press conference tomorrow.
They will.
They better not.
Looks like Mayor Deegan just cut the ribbon on JP Small.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Looks like Action News Jax Finn Carlin might be down there.
Oh, very good. Good deal. So all the renovations over there. I know that was a long time coming. A lot of people put a lot of sweat equity into JP Small and are really excited to see that happen here in 2025. So that's very cool. A lot of history down there and good ball still to be played at JP Small. So cool to see some of the renovations. Once again, baseball and softball season starts. It's like 35 degrees here. But it will warm up next week, so it is coming soon for everybody. It's Liam Coen season here in Jacksonville as well. Brent Martineau along with Austen Lane and Jason Hamby. And again, just the latest at noon now. If you're just jumping in, Liam Coen is going to be the next head coach of the Jaguars. We just haven't got official word from the Jags. I don't know what's slowing that up. There was word from Ian Rappaport that the actual deal got done last night or early this morning at 1 o'clock in the morning. And obviously all the reports out of Tampa that he told his assistants and told Tampa that he was not coming back and he was going to take the Jags job. So all those things are still here, just not the final word from the Jags and some details. I think that's the next step of this, and we'll continue to monitor that. We're here until 1 o'clock on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network. Austin, how much does it bother you, what we have overused the word clunky here in the last few days, but the nature of how this got done? Is it just business? I feel like we would be up in arms if we were Tampa Bay Bucks fans as well. Even there's a little bit of, the Rooney Rule comes into play here. There's some stuff here that this wasn't the cleanest of operations that you'd love to have, but sometimes business is business, and business isn't always clean. And at the end of the day, if this is the guy you wanted, this is the guy you had to get, and you got him, then you kind of put some of those things off the side because it can't always be the right, clean way to do it.
No, for sure. Yeah, I mean, you can call it clunky, you can call it a little messy, whatever the case may be. Most important thing is that you got your guy. I mean, I will say a couple things though. Like, number one, the Rooney Rule, just get rid of it. Like, it's because at this point it's used as a crutch, but it's a joke, right? Like, did anybody think that Eddie George had any shot of getting the Chicago job? No, but they needed a guy to check the box. Like, I feel like the Rooney Rule wasn't put into place just to check a box, right? I feel like the Rooney Rule was supposed to be put in place to give everyone an equal opportunity of becoming a head coach. And now I just feel like it's become a joke of itself. So in my opinion, man, they should just do away. Like, I just hope that the best candidates get hired, man. And I don't have a solution, Brent. Like, I really don't. I wish I did. But when now it's just like you got to check a box and make sure you get a minority in to interview to get a pass, it's just like, what are we doing with that? So I'm not even really a fan of I'm a fan of what it was supposed to represent, but now it's become a joke of itself. I feel like.
Very simply put, like when it's done wrong, these guys are just getting used.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it's a deep conversation that has a lot of tentacles to it, because I would say, yeah, it does look like that at face value. But the rule is in place to give opportunity. And the rule still does provide opportunity. You get in a room, you have a chance. If you don't get in the room, you don't have a chance. So, and this isn't just for head coaches. This is for coordinators. This also goes, I think, even down to quarterback coach as well. So there are varying levels of this. This will be part of the GM process too. So I think, again, some of the intent is right. There's always a way to circumvent. That's the problem. Like, this looks sloppy on these really almost newcomer head coaches. Ben Johnson's like, I don't need a damn second interview. I'll make my choice. Like, how weird is that? Like, how weird is it that he controlled the whole cycle and he chose, I don't need to visit with the Raiders, the Jags, or the Bears a second time to really vet this out. I'm good. Like, that's an odd thing on his end, Rooney Rule or not. But that's what sped it up to be able to have Eddie George go interview, even though he really wasn't a candidate. And what I've said about Patrick Graham and Eddie George, like, this is not that different than the draft and due diligence where, hey, if you need a new coaching cycle in a few years, you've already done some homework on some of the guys that could be in play for years to come in the coaching cycle, like Eddie George. Eddie George isn't ready for it, but he's actually done some pretty good things at the collegiate level. Maybe someday he is ready for it, a la Deion Sanders and others. So I don't know if it's all negative. I don't think the optics of this play very well for the New Englands, even Chicago, and quite frankly here in Jacksonville as well. And I'll tell you what, I think Trent Baalke's the one that screwed that up. Because Baalke putting this interview to fulfill the Rooney Rule after Liam Coen, who maybe was your top one or two choice, that means he didn't plan it well for how fast this played out. He thought he had plenty of time. He misread it. And he screwed it up if he was the guy leading the charge and making the scheduled dates of events. So it's got a lot of different things to it for me, Austin. I don't know if it should go away. I think the league has really tried to elongate the process, and now we just saw a couple of coaches and agents basically say, screw the second interviews and stuff like that. We're going to go right now. We're going to make this faster.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know what I want, and that's kind of bad to say, but like, I want something to be okay. So like the Rooney Rule, like, yeah, to me, I think of, okay, everyone gets an equal opportunity, right? So like, yes, I'm all in favor of that. But I'm not in favor of if you're just going to make a mockery of it. And like, okay, you can tell me that did Eddie George really turn Tennessee State around? Like, I don't know. I don't think so. Like, I haven't checked the record the past couple of years.
I think he was pretty good. So, I think he was like, it might have been coach of the year or something in that conference. Yeah.
At Tennessee State?
I thought he was.
Andy, can we get Tennessee State's record, please?
Yep.
I thought I saw something like 9-4 or something like that.
Okay. I mean, because they used to play in our conference in the Ohio Valley with Murray State, but I haven't been following them forever. I just think, like, we knew what it was.
9-4.
9-4? Mm-hmm. And he got coach of the year for going 9-4?
Well, they might have been like 2 and whatever before. I don't know. If you're saying the way you said it, maybe they were bad. I don't know.
He's been there for 4 years.
Okay, he's been there that long. Was he coach of the year? I might have been wrong on the coach of the year.
I don't. Let me keep digging, but he was 5-6, 4-7, 6-5, 9-4.
Okay.
Yeah. Can't believe he's been there that long, by the way.
Yeah, for sure. I just think like until you can actually start taking those candidates seriously. Like, sorry, I'm not taking Eddie George seriously as an NFL head coach right now. Right? I'm not taking Graham seriously as a head coach. It's just I'm not. So I just feel like you need to stop checking boxes and start taking these guys a little more seriously, or at least start, maybe interviewing some other guys. But like, this is the issue with it. Like, everyone's, it's to the races, right? So everyone's hurrying up to try to get let's get a minority candidate so we can get this other guy in here. And
Yeah.
that's not what that's what I don't want to see the Rooney Rule used for that. And that's what we're using it for now. So,
well, it was really interesting because I think people didn't realize the part where you had to have 2 in-person interviews for to fulfill the Rooney Rule. And that's what made this one get clunky for a lot of teams. Because let's be honest, there were plenty of minorities that interviewed the first time on the virtual calls. The Jets had 20 guys in. They ended up hiring Aaron Glenn, by the way. The Bears had 17 different guys on the call and still had to bring in a couple more for, to fulfill in person. The Jags had 10 different candidates and plenty of candidates that would have fulfilled the Rooney Rule and minority candidates that were legitimate candidates, I think, like Robert Saleh, but they still had to fulfill the rule. So maybe that's where it gets, if these things are going to speed up, as the NFL said, hey, we want to make this a longer process, and the NFL basically just said, nah, we ain't doing that. That's where maybe they have to correct the timeline, or where unfortunately to say, the boxes get checked, or however else. So I don't know the data right in front of me of how much this has worked, but we're going to see it again with the Jags and the GM, right? The GM part, you still have to do it. It's not as stringent, I think, in terms of how many interviews you have to do, but there still is a process. So anyone that wanted like Spytech to come and spurn the Raiders like kind of Coen did and turn around, like that wasn't going to happen unless he wanted to wait for like a week and a half, because the Jags haven't even thought about the process of the GM other than to say, hey, Liam Coen, you're going to be a part of it, So there are, it's pretty, it's not easy. It's not easy to navigate. Here's what I'll always go back to say. Do I think there's been discrimination in the past in NFL buildings and everything else? Yes, absolutely. I think the numbers showcase that. Do I think you have to make efforts to make that better? Absolutely. But I just can't come around, and I may be a little naive on this part. This is a league that winning only matters. I don't care if it's old, young, black, white, male, female. We have got to reach a point sooner or later where you're just going to get the best damn person to win football games for you and get it right. I would think at this point, even in ownership. I mean, we have reached that point. Now, was it that way 25 years ago? I'm not saying that. Was it that way even 15 years ago? I don't think. But golly, I would hope that that's what we're doing here. And maybe that's just me being naive about it. But if I'm running a franchise and winning is so important because this is such a big deal, holy cow, man, just get me the best person.
Yeah, man. I mean, it sounds great when you say it like that, Brent, but I've said this many times on the old show. There's plenty of great coaches that will never get an opportunity because they don't know a certain person. And it's all about who you know. Guys get elevated that don't deserve to be elevated simply because of their coaching tree, right? And if you think wins and losses are everything, look no farther than the Jacksonville Jaguars, where Doug Pearson didn't want to call plays. All right, like sometimes it's about taking care of your own more than it is about winning games, and that's not just in Jacksonville. That's in a lot of places, past and present. So I get it, man. It sounds great, and you'd hope that winning's everything. But I know plenty of great coaches that I played for that were position coaches that will never get an opportunity for whatever reason, and it makes zero sense to me.
Yeah, that's a good call, and it's fair. It's definitely a fair point, and it's been the way. So they got to figure it out. I don't love the way it all went down, even here in Jacksonville, quite frankly. But I think I blame Baalke on that more than the Jags. You got to remember, I mean, if anybody's going to conform to the Rooney Rule, and I mean, the minority owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, you would think, is going to try to abide and have a lot of respect for that rule. I think really Baalke, I'm telling you, man, I don't know if he'll ever tell us, but I think part of the reason Baalke got fired is because of the process that took place here in this cycle. He was in charge of putting that process together. Shad trusted him to do it, and quite frankly, he screwed it up because he misplayed the timing. I think the schedule of interviews were not correctly put in place for who they wanted on their board, and he screwed it up. So as much as Liam Coen may have forced that move, I still think the process of screwing up where they couldn't even make an offer to a Ben Johnson if they wanted to, or a Liam Coen if they wanted to beat Tampa out, pissed Shad off just as much as anything else. And the proof was in the pudding. He screwed up the process that actually you still had to even get here where we're questioning, did they make a mockery of the Rooney Rule because of the order of sequence that Trent Baalke set this thing up to do?
Yeah, I mean, that may have had something to do with it, but at the end of the day, say everything got put into place, you were ahead of the schedule and everything, and maybe you still offer Ben Johnson, you still offer Liam Coen. I'm pretty confident they probably would have said no because Trent Baalke's still there, and then Shad Khan would have still made the change. So, I mean, it might have something to do with it, Brent, but at the end of the day, the reason why I think Trent Baalke got let go was because not a lot of people wanted to work with him.
Yeah, and by the way, I'm not dismissing that part. I think there are other, for a guy who held on to Trent Baalke for a long time when we thought he shouldn't, I think there was even a little bit more than just that in play here because he watched him kind of screw up the process. I mean, right in front of his eyes, and we don't know if he doesn't always do that because he's not in the building all the time, or if you're screwing up the plan for Eric Armstead, he might not know. Well, he knows this. You screw up the hiring process, and that's something Shad's probably very familiar with.
Yeah, I think, and this will probably never come out, but what I don't understand is, and maybe like this is why now you bring in an EVP or whatever you want to call the title. Did we establish, is it an EVP? Is that what they're calling it? Or
they're not saying anything. No, they're not saying anything. No.
Okay. But, I knew it. I feel like you knew it. I feel like everybody on Twitter knew it. Like, not everybody wanted to work with Trent Baalke. I just don't understand. And obviously, I'm sure Trent Baalke maybe knew something, but he's not going to snitch on himself, right? So you probably remain quiet on that front. But I just don't understand why Shad Khan didn't have the foresight, after the press conference to say, hey, maybe this isn't such a good idea to keep him because people, I mean, Brent, this, people talk all the time around the league, right? And you hear things. And how he never heard one time, or if he did, he just didn't listen to it, but how you didn't take into account that, hey, for this next coaching cycle, you may be behind the eight ball a little bit just because of your GM. I can't believe that never occurred. Yeah, and in Chicago, maybe same thing, right? But I don't think Baalke is on the level of Poles. I think obviously Ben Johnson will still work with Poles, and they stuck by Poles. I just don't understand where you didn't have the foresight to see, hey, this may not be good for you.
Yeah. I don't know if I've talked to you about this yet because I've been talking a lot in the last couple of days. Right. If I did, apologies. But, just going back and forth and seeing some different stuff. And a lot of people are now on the whole Tampa and Tampa's fans are mad. Tampa was mad as an organization. I think some of that is appropriate, but some of the reports that came out about hey, he used his kid as an excuse, and now the fans and everybody else all over the family, which means his wife Ashley came out on Twitter this morning and said, yeah, we really did have, our son was sick, and they had to almost back that up and defend that. I can't help but think of, as I've talked through the show today, that I actually think Tampa messed this up too. And I don't know if I'm far reaching, but I think Tampa messed this up in a couple of ways. If Monday was the timeline where they said, hey, we want to keep you, part of that conversation reportedly is, hey, you can't go for a second interview. So, okay, you're showing the guy love. He's got to make that decision. You give him a big raise, all those things. Those are good things. But now you're trying to also say, the power of that move is also, yeah, but you can't go interview and be considered for this job. Well, I think you could have said, if you're Tampa, if you wanted to be forthright and you really want to wrap your arms around this guy, it's like, listen, we're not giving you the head coaching job here. We see you someday as a head coach, but Todd Bowles has done a nice job. We're going to give you a raise. We want you to be the OC. We love you here. And you know what else we're going to do? We're going to give you the opportunity to go interview. You should go interview again. You should get experience and go interview again. And what we hope you come out of that is say, hey, I want to be a part of this organization for years and years to come, right now as the OC and potentially someday as a head coach. But we don't want to stunt your growth in the process of at least getting another interview. Could they have been more forthright in that? And then the other side of it is, now that they were so mad about it, organizationally. What ended up coming out is this story about, hey, he used his kid as an excuse and didn't tell them in proper time, and they're mad and blah, blah, blah. So now they're the ones kind of creating a narrative in Tampa that, hey, this guy lied to us. He not only didn't answer his calls, but he also lied to us. That is now taking aim at his family, even though that wasn't correct to do by the fans and everyone else. You see what I'm saying? So I feel like Tampa made some mistakes here as well, where you can't stop a guy's growth. Like, you shouldn't be able to do that. And I wonder if that kind of pissed off Coen to say, hey, I appreciate the raise, but you didn't even give me an opportunity to really look at this job. And when they called back, I was like, damn it, I deserve an opportunity to really look at this job.
Yeah, I mean, listen, obviously hindsight's 2020. I don't know how I would have handled it. Like, I guess I would have left it open-ended saying, hey, if we struggle this season, you'll be first in line to take over. Like, I understand, like, you don't want to hamper a coach's growth and you want to see him flourish, but man, that's your coordinator. Like, that's your play caller. That's the guy who got the best out of Baker Mayfield. That's the guy who put the offense on the map even through all the injuries and everything. So if I have to dangle a carrot in front of him and say, if this goes bad this year, it shouldn't be because of our offense. It might be because of our defense. We have a defensive-minded coach, Liam. So you're gonna be next in line here. Like, we envision you going forward. I would probably go that route more than I would just go, hey, you're a great offensive coordinator. Best of luck to you. We hope, we're going to let you go. And if you come back, come back. Like, I don't want to let anybody go if I'm an organization. So I would have did everything in my power to try to keep him and try to persuade him. I wouldn't have just let him go, pursue other opportunities. I would have did everything in my power to try to, reconfirm that, hey, if it goes bad this next year, you'll be the guy going for the head coach in years and years to come.
Yeah, I think we. It's pretty cool when we hear stories in businesses and really well-run businesses of how they operate sometimes, and I think there's a couple of ways to go at it, right? Different tacks to take. And by the way, I think Tampa has established themselves as a pretty good organization. They're getting rated, right? Their offense coordinators the last few years now, and also their front office. So I think they've done that, but I just think you could also, the confidence in your own building and your own culture, and hey, you really want to be a part of us anyway. But hey, I'll let you go. Like I said it to Hamby the other day. It's like, Hamby, hey, listen, you're gonna want to be here. You go walk across the street and go try to be a part of that. But hey, go ahead and feel it out and see it. But you're gonna come back. We're confident that hopefully you do come back, and you want to be a part of this not just for today, but for tomorrow and years to come. Rather than I think your tact is the wrong way to do it because you put people in a tough spot. You now have Todd Bowles is like, oh, wait, this guy's sneaking up on me. There's actually some thought out of Detroit now that maybe Ben Johnson and Dan Campbell weren't getting along as well. I wonder why. Was there some thoughts that he was getting too much love, that too much love for, well, wait, this is Dan Campbell's operation. This isn't Ben Johnson doing everything. So you can create a bad vibe as well if you sit there and say coach in waiting or someday I want you to be the coach when Todd Bowles has really done a hell of a job with Tampa. So I don't know. There's just a couple of ways to go about it.
Yeah, but okay. So if you want to use the Hamby example, take a look at it for what it is, though. If we're to say, Hamby, hey, go look someplace else, man, go across the street, that's fine. What happens when they give him his own show? When he's in the prime time slot of his own show instead of producer?
I kick his ass.
Okay, but this is my point, though. Like, you're not talking about the same role. You're not talking about Liam Coen coming here to be an offensive coordinator. He's the head coach. We're not talking about Jason Hamby going across the street to be a producer. We're talking about him being an on-air talent now. Like, if you're Hamby, you'd at least consider it. So then you let Hamby go. Now what are we gonna do? Now what's the next plan? Right? Like, I would much rather tell Hamby, hey, Hamby, man, we value you here. Keep pushing the buttons. Eventually we see you maybe growing into more of a role of an on-air talent. We started together. Let's finish together. All this stuff. I like that dialogue more than, yeah, go across the street. Maybe they got something better to offer you, then maybe you'll come back. Maybe you won't. I think you have more control with saying, hey, man, we still have to keep you here and eventually grow you and try to put you in someplace else.
Yeah, I think you say both to try to keep the guy. Of course, you can still do that, and you say, hey, you want to be here, here's why, boom, 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 boom. But I also think you don't stunt people's growth. I think that's, I mean, listen, we're a little bit different animal because we're not talking about the amount of money that these guys are talking about. But I've said this for years, quite frankly, and I'll be honest with you. I'll just say it right out loud. I think the other two stations in town are stupid that they haven't come and tried to get like Stewart to go run their department. Like, I think they're dumb. And I've been saying it for years. Like, but I also I would say, like, hey, you can also stay here. I feel like, got a better situation. We do more sports. We're starting a new network. We're going to try to get you a little bit more. We'd love you to stay, but I ain't stopping you from going over there. I'm just going to kick your ass when you do go over there.
Well, but to be fair, in the business, you have to sit out a year too. You just can't. I mean, I'm sure you have a non-compete.
Yeah. Again, it's not apples to apples completely. Also, I'm not paying anybody $5 million versus $12 million. But I'm just telling you that is the way that's not foreign in the way people work, especially if you feel good about your own product. And maybe the Bucs made a little bit of a mistake there by putting that part of the stipulation in for Liam Coen and not saying, hey, you can't go there, though. You can't even interview. I don't know. That just feels like a very power play move, which, by the way, you're afforded the opportunity and the luxury of doing if you're also going to say, here's $4.5 million. So I kind of wrestle with it. I'm not telling you I'm exactly there, but I just think, I wonder if they had handled it a little bit differently, if maybe he would have taken the job anyway. Or maybe you would have been like, you know what, that was pretty cool that they did that. I really want to be a part of that. I want to be a part of them. I'll wait. So I don't know. To each their own, right? But I do think it's a pretty interesting dynamic the way it gets thrown about there. All right, let's do this. Go ahead and take a timeout. A couple other things going on around the National Football League. Did you see Pete Carroll going to the Raiders? What do you think about that move? And now where the Jags start matching up in this cycle, I think people are happy they're going to get Liam Coen. Like, that's a good thing. It's a win. And then you got to look at the GM part. What does the structure look like? Should we start turning it toward that at least to end the week here? I don't know how they'll respond, Mr. Hugo. I'm just being honest, just to try to get this stuff out there. Just give you a good example. Hey, congratulations to our man, Matthew Driscoll. 500 games coached with the UNF Ospreys. Coach, you're getting old, man. But the only way you do that is if you're good, too. And they got a good win on the road last night over Queens. They needed a good win, a big win, and they got it. Congratulations to them. They'll try to get another one at West Georgia on Saturday. We got the River City Rumble a week from Saturday, so some good stuff still to come in the ASUN. JU also a winner last night. They're off to a heck of a start at 6-1. So we got some good college basketball here in town. Check out the UNF Ospreys. They'll be home Wednesday night as well, and check them out at unfospreys.com.
If you don't see a pit, it ain't legit. When you hear that, you think Bono's Pit Barbecue, a staple in Northeast Florida now for 75 years. A place that feels like home with friendly service, a meeting place for friends, family, or business occasions. On the menu, the corn nuggets are a favorite in our house, but there's something for everyone. Sandwiches, platters, salads, sides, desserts, and family feasts. You see Bono's all over the place in Northeast Florida. You know, there are almost 20 locations in the Jacksonville area now, so stop on by, sit down, and dine in with Bono's. You can also take it to go. There are drive-thrus in many of the locations, and they have delivery options too. Just download the Bono's app to make things easy. I signed up for the loyalty program, and you can too, to get special offers. If Jacksonville is home, few things feel more Jacksonville than Bono's Pit Barbecue. Celebrate 75 years and many more to come. Bono's Pit Barbecue. If you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
For the game day hustle and every day in between. Juggling my show, Jag Social, to going under the Friday night lights and a social life, it's a daily tournament. But this ride, MVP status. The all-new 2024 Lincoln Nautilus isn't just my car, it's my personal locker room, office on the go, and VIP lounge on wheels. Let's talk tech. My profile remembers everything from customizing my dash display to setting the ambient lighting and my signature scent. And wireless charging, essential for live tweeting scores. Whether I'm packing for a beach day with friends or heading to the gym, there's space for every passion.
After dominating all day, this becomes my recovery zone.
The massage feature is like having a personal PT on call.
Life's a non-stop game, but with this ride, I'm always on my A game. The 2024 Lincoln Nautilus. Drive.
You trust CGC to make your water great, and now you can trust CGC with your plumbing needs as well. Fast, convenient scheduling, licensed and insured. A quick call away at 904-552-1242.
You never know when you're going to have an issue with a shower, toilet, or maybe it's a sink that sometimes is easy to fix. All right, let's be honest. I'm not fixing anything. I'm totally staging this because when I have a plumbing problem, I call CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing.
Trained professionals, transparent pricing, customer satisfaction. Small problem or even a bigger issue. Right now, save 10% off a new Rinnai tankless water heater. The experts with 25 years of experience at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing can do it all. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. For a limited time, CGC is waiving the trip charge on all related plumbing calls. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579.
Here on Spring Sports Media Day on Action Sports Jack.
It's an opportunity, an education beyond the classroom and the sports arena. Life skills, testing skills, social skills. It's called High School 912, a program focused on maximizing the growth of students in academics, sports, and life. And here's your chance to get involved. If you're a local business, or if you just want to make a donation to help support programs like ACT and SAT boot camps, career days, Leadership Academy, Financial Literacy Academy, and so much more.
Another Nice High School Panther, Jack Cole.
High School 912 supports and hosts high school sporting events and several media days throughout the year. For more information on how you can get involved, visit jackshighschool912.com.
It's the place we party in football season with Jaguars All Access. Welcome to Spring Sports Brewery, everybody. Say hello to our guest tonight. That is Trevor Lawrence. You can bring your party or event to Spring Sports Brewery in Springfield any day and any time. Rehearsal dinners, corporate events, birthdays. Here at Strings, you can enjoy the inside area and the outside area. Good for any weather, good for any occasion. Watch the games, play the games, shoot some hoops. Beer? Yeah, they have that. Plenty of choices. And sure, this is a brewery, but Strings is also a restaurant, and the food is fantastic. A full menu made from scratch meals. And if you need String Sports Brewery to help with a party at your place, they cater too. Family, beer, food, sports. Spring Sports Brewery in Springfield.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austin Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
Oh, look at this. Oh, we got some flies on the wall here. Look at, that's not Tinkerbell, by the way. It's Fly on the Wall segment that we started last week. We said, what would we be if we were a fly on the wall in X interview? Great question by Hamby. So then we took that and ran with it, or flew with that. And that ends up with us being flies. And now I want to know if we were a fly on the wall in the Shad Khan, Tony Baselli, Ethan Waugh, Liam Coen room, what would we have heard? Because that would have been a fun one. What do you think? What do you think, Austin? Like, what do you think was said in that room? Because there's been a lot of reports, right? And I kind of not sure.
What is going on?
What did you just do?
I can't even itch my armpit without doing something.
Well, you can't itch your arm with a thumbs up. You had thumbs up while you itched your arm. Do it again. Do it again.
Listen, I don't want to do it steady. Again. Like, hey, I'm not gonna lie.
It's the greatest part of this week, by the way.
iPhone 8, man.
Yeah.
I'm going back to the iPhone 8.
The levity your phone has brought to this week has been fantastic.
I've appreciated
I can't even move without something happening. Like, it's ridiculous, man. Sorry.
I love how you're annoyed by it and we're entertained by it.
Well, it's just like I can't even like move without something happening now.
That's wild, man.
And I move a lot.
All right, so if you were moving like a fly, what do you got? What are they saying in that room? I mean, hey, you can. I love the report of you can pick the GM. All right, it's not you pick the GM. It's that you're involved in the process of picking the GM. I got to believe that's going to be a collaborative effort, right?
Yeah. I think the biggest thing that we talk about of what was transpiring, I mean, I think knowing Shad Khan, when Shad Khan's in like gotta have it mode, like when he's like, this is my guy mode, he'll, come hell or high water, he'll try to get the job done. So I think the conversation was pretty easy. I think it was, hey, Liam, we want you. We can offer you the head coaching gig. What do you need? What can we do to get you here? I think it was as simple as that. And obviously, I mean, Trent Baalke being gone was a big part of that too. But it's like, hey, I understand that maybe you and Trent Baalke didn't see eye to eye on things. He's gone. He can't hurt us anymore. Brent's not getting paid anymore at the table. Don't worry about it. What do you need now? What can we do to move on and make you the head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars? I think it was as simple as that.
Wow, you think it was pretty short and sweet and right to the point. No, forget about all the BS and negotiating or interviewing and everything else. It was like, listen, we're getting this done.
Yeah, I really do, because I mean, what point is the negotiation? Because you're not in competition with any other team in terms of bringing him for a head coach. So all you're in competition with is him being an offensive coordinator of where he came from, right? So you have the power move where you have the promotion, you have the better job. Now it's just about what does he need to take said job.
Hamby, what do you think? Because I'm fascinated with the process of this. Like, where was the agent? How much of this was issued through the agent? How much of this was directly to Liam Coen? You obviously say, power move, send my jet, come on over. We got to be cloak of secrecy, all that stuff. But once you got here in Jacksonville, where this took place, a lot of times these don't take place in Jacksonville. Remember, a bunch of the courtship for Urban Meyer took place in South Florida? And so they don't like to do it in the action. This was like, now bring them in. And they can do that now, by the way, because it's easier to back into the building at the Miller Electric Center than it was before, where you'd have to kind of go in the front way. So they've actually created a situation where you can't see what cars and people are entering the building, even when players are going in. So I think they can now do that in the building. But actually, it sounds like it was a staffer in the Jags building that tipped off the Bucs that Coen was in the building and set off the firestorm, according to reports. But once they got in the room, Hamby, what do you think you would have heard as a fly on the wall?
Yeah, I think Shaw would have been asking, hey, based off of our 2024 roster, how would you have done differently? I think I'm with Austen with the majority of it was shortened to the point where Shaw was like, look, at this point, there's no going back. We want you, let's get it done. But I do think there's like, that was 90% of it, and then 10% of it was like maybe like hours long of the side conversations about GM, about personality-wise, because at this point, if it's done, Shad's probably going to already start to get to know the guy. Like, got to deal like, hey, Liam, what makes you tick? Why do you think you're? I would ask him why he thinks he could be the best head coach in the National Football League. Like, what's his confidence level at? What specifically about with Trevor Lawrence? Like, these are all things that I would wish that I could hear Liam Coen answer. I want to know how much he knows about Jacksonville, because that's what we've talked about. Like, with some of our coaches in the past, they had a better feel for the city than maybe Doug did. Not that he had a bad one, but he just didn't have as much as some others. How committed is he to the city? He's, hey, Liam, you've been at one spot for no more than 1 year for the last almost 10 years. I don't have a problem with that, but obviously you're going to be here for multiple years. You didn't even have time to get your feet ready to get a house in any of these other places. But you're going to be settling in here with your family. What's important to you? Are you going to connect with? How do you plan on connecting with a fan base that you've never really done that before with? Yeah, stuff like that.
It's a different battle. Can you show the fly on the wall again, by the way? Because I like yours with the mustache. Like, it's a pretty good one up there. Man, you look like Paul Skeens or something. as a fly.
I wish I could bring it back. But
I need some facial hair, apparently, to fit in with the flies on this wall. All right, here's the deal, guys. I think all of those things are in play. I do wonder, Hamby, if some of those things were in the virtual interview that you'll get on a lot of that longer interview, because I think Austin's right. I don't think this was much of an interview. I think this was like, we want you, and what's it going to take is what basically Austin said. But there's one other element of this that I really hope took place. And we've said this for a long time, and I don't want to miss this. Did we get to the point in this process that Liam Coen was able to interview them where Shad would be like, hey, what are you going to fix? Mm-hmm. This has been a weird week. This has been a weird couple of weeks. We have to fix some things. How do we fix it? What needs to be fixed? What do you view us as? And I think those answers from Liam Coen were not just for maybe Shad Khan, but also for himself, to convince himself, hey, I can do this here. How many problems does he see? Or is he blinded by $12 million or whatever it's going to be? I hope not. There are two things I really hope didn't happen in this situation. One, that he was blinded by just money and said, okay, I don't give a damn, whatever's, I'll fix it, or at least try. And if not, I'll be rich. Like, I hope that's not the motivation. And then for Shad's point of view, I really hope this wasn't a desperate move. Like we said, you could have opened it up and then vetted everybody again. You would have missed the opportunity for Liam Coen because he probably would have signed a deal. But you could have opened it up to Brady, Monken, McCarthy. Take a wider lens. Don't be emotional after getting spurned on Wednesday morning. Instead, they moved very fast. That also can be desperate in a way. So I hope it wasn't desperate, and I would get a sense if I was a fly on the wall of both parties. Are you doing this just because we're giving you everything you need and everything you want and the power and the money and all this? Are you taking this for the right reasons? Can you really fix it? Or Shad, hey, are you going after this guy for the right reasons? Are you really desperate in this mode from a PR standpoint and everything else that you hit? Or you've always been our guy. I would love to know, if I was in that, how committed from the jump. Is there a chance that they even wanted Liam Coen over Ben Johnson? Am I going to feel that in the room if I was sitting in there for the first time?
I think both things can be true here. I think Shad Khan really wanted Liam Coen, but also I think Shad Khan's ego got affected a little bit due to the bad optics finally, and maybe he listened to our show a little bit, but I think all these moves show like, hey, this was kind of embarrassing for us, the past couple of days in terms of how this team was being perceived, in terms of coaches turning this job down. I got to make a change. So then when he finally made that change and now everything was kind of, adding up and everything, I think he did take it upon himself to go, all right, let's go and course correct this thing in a day. Like, I don't want to wait. I don't want to go after Brady. I don't want to go after more. Like, I want to change the perception of the Jacksonville Jaguars within 24 hours. Mm-hmm. So I think they wanted Coen, but also I think ego took over a little bit in terms of he wanted to change the perception as soon as possible and not sit on his hands anymore.
Yeah, and we've been critical a little bit now, right, of some of the bad PR moves that the Jags have had, from the press conference and the way that went to other things. But I think you also have to give an attaboy and a hat tip and everything else to the folks that turned this, because they really turned it. Mm-hmm. And now listen, there's a different maybe PR hit that you're taking because of the Coen stuff and the clunky nature of it. But I'm talking about with your fans, because who gives a damn about the rest of the league and the national folks? They don't usually give a damn about you anyway. But everybody here in Jacksonville, season ticket holders, fans, people that are coming out of the woodwork to like eat up everything that is a piece of news all week long. Anytime we jump on a show, like in crazy numbers, those are the people you're talking to. Those are the people that are so invested. And I think they've really turned that. And hats off to the Jags for being able to do that. It looked like it might take weeks to come out of this. I thought all along, Austin, if you go back, even though it was a hit when Trent Baalke stayed, I always said, hey, if you get Ben Johnson or if you get your next coach, there's going to build excitement anyway. People will forget about the Trent storyline. Even though they're mad about it, they'll forget about it because there's two things that really energize a base, and that is a quarterback and a head coach. So as long as they got someone not named like a dud of a coach, quite frankly, that you felt, you were going to do well. You were going to ramp up some ticket sales and renewal sales and energy. But man, did they take a negative and turn it into a, let's throw the parade in a week.
Yeah. Yeah, and listen, I think everyone around this city is very excited because it seems like the Jaguars got their guy. The only asterisk I'll put next to this, the only caveat that I'll bring up is nobody else seemed to want him. Nobody else really seemed to want to interview him for their head coaching role.
Except for the Bucs now, Austin. They really wanted him.
Yeah, but once again, like that was going to be like the long play. Right, like it wasn't like the Bucs going to be like, "Hey, you're going to be the head coach tomorrow." No, like that wasn't going to be the case. But like nobody else wanted Liam Coen as their head coaching gig. So once again, like I'm excited. We should all be excited. But now I'm very curious to see. Well, then how is this whole thing going to shake out? Did the Jaguars for once in their lives kind of think outside the box and actually get this whole thing right here, and didn't pull like an Urban Meyer? Didn't pull a Doug Peterson when nobody else really wanted Doug Peterson. We were pretty happy to get Doug Peterson. So that's going to be, I think, the story from now is, man, did you finally hit it out of the park when nobody else is willing to take the risk? Or, and I'm not even going to speak this into existence, but like, is it going to be a lot more of the former?
Yeah, and listen, that's the risk you run. And I don't know. And Hamby, you don't know. And Austin, you don't know. And quite frankly, the Jacksonville Jaguars don't know. They have more information at their disposal, but if they really knew, they would already fix this over the last decade plus. So they don't know either. You just got to hope you landed on the right one. But now, Austin, the biggest thing that's in place is now you can have the things that we've been preaching. You can have alignment. You can have vision. You can have a mission statement. You can have all those things that you didn't have because you weren't going to have that. And you can make the mistakes of yesterday better because of other simple things like transparency, messaging, all the rest. So, again, it's my plea to the Jags is don't stop at Baalke firing and also hiring Liam Coen and maybe even putting Baselli in a position of some power in the front office. Don't stop there or in hiring the GM. It's deeper than that. It's bigger than that. You've got to do all that. You can make this all better, sustainable, and help Liam Coen out. Because really, you're going to listen to everybody, what Ben Johnson said, and listen to what folks say to it. How do you serve the coach? That's one thing Shad said. Right? We want to all be stewards for the coach, basically. Not we in terms of me and you, the fan, but anybody in the building, from the ticket salesperson to the business side people to Shad to the GM to the players. How do we make this guy put all the pieces together to make it work on the football field on Sundays? And they have there's more steps to this, but it looks like they might be off to a good start to be able to do that. You get a hi, Austin, my best friend in the whole world, from John. How about that?
John, I can't see.
John Osment?
Oh, yeah. What up, man? Yeah, I think he's still in New York, dude. That's the homie right there, man. Yeah, we used to go to shows together and everything.
I got you. Delphonic, by the way, just to address what you said, did nobody want Coen or was he selective? And I do think Malarkey turned down interviews. Even McVay was a hot candidate, but only interviewed with the Rams and 49ers. And Delphonic, I think you're on to something there. We just don't know it. But I think other teams, and again, this might have been them being a little bit more smart than the Jags for a time, maybe knew he was convicted to probably be in Tampa, or Tampa would make a run at him to keep him, and it would be tough to get him. So Chicago might not have wanted to interview him because, quite frankly, he wasn't on the top of their list. So why waste our time? The Jets, same thing. The Jags were a little bit different. Hey, we like this guy in our top three. We're going to make that play anyway, even if the Tampa Bay Bucs try to block us. So you just don't know.
Yeah, you just don't know. But I will say this. I mean, there's a lot of things to like with this signing. I think more than any other signing, set aside from Ben Johnson, I still think Ben Johnson was like, he was the coveted guy. Whatever, man. Good luck to you in Chicago. We will take Liam. But I think now we can start having the conversation of, okay, is there really any other excuse now for Trevor? Like, this should be Trevor's year to finally show like what he has to offer. Because I think Liam Coen runs a very quarterback-friendly offense. He puts a very emphasis on offensive line play, running the football, very quarterback-friendly. I think we can sit back here and say, okay, we can finally see now what Trevor Lawrence is capable of. And I get it. It's going to be a new offense, new terminology, and that could take some time to adjust to, Brent. But it just feels like, once again, going back to the guy that you spent all this money on to make your franchise quarterback in Trevor Lawrence, it seems like now maybe he's taken care of a little better now as well.
Yes, just going over some comments in the chat as well. You guys are awesome. It's been a fun week with the chat now, from Twitter to YouTube to all the different shows that we've done, jumping on a couple of days as well. So thanks for hanging out. Delphonic liked the fly graphics, so we'll tell Danielle and Liv helped do that, and so that was fly on the wall. We're going to do that more often. That's just not just a Jags thing. I kind of like the fly on the wall thing when it's appropriate. We do have the envelope game that you're not going to be here to reveal, but I think we probably have to do this once he gets introduced on Monday. We'll probably
we just do it now.
No, because I don't want to do it now. I just don't want to do it now. I'm not in the mood.
So on a high note?
Nah, I just don't want to do it now. And by the way, I don't think we have time to do it now. Do you have NBA
Do we
Slam
not want to
Poetry?
do it now because you didn't? Who would you have? You have Ben Johnson in the envelope. I knew it.
We'll find out. Do you have NBA Slam Poetry or no today?
No.
Good. I don't have time for it anyway. So I just want to no. Hey, Delphonic, I'm making you come back on Monday, guys. I don't want to do it now. Liv's here. She's got her own.
Not?
We got Liv's list. We've got 10 minutes to go in the show. I was going to share some of the comments people made as well. Like things like Shad must watch the other station because he's always got it wrong. That was a good comment from Mr. Hugo. All right, Liv, get you in here. Let's go. We got Liv's list.
Rapid fire.
What up,
we
Liv?
missed it. We missed the fireworks.
Oh, yeah, fireworks.
I was giving thumbs up fireworks for Brent.
Hey,
Yeah,
you know what you're
all
going to do?
good.
You're going to realize that you must put thumbs up quite a bit because you've had a lot of fireworks here on the show this
Well,
year.
no, this
week.
was me being sarcastic, man. I swear, if you got like Robert Sala on that envelope, oh my god,
I'm not
you will never
swapping
hear the
the
end of
envelope.
it.
I won't swap the envelope, by the way. In fact, if you want to mark mine, just so you know, no, you don't have to do it right this second. After the show, Liv will do it, and Hamby will watch, just so we don't swap the envelopes or anything. The envelopes are in. They've been in. Liv helped create the envelopes, too. And we've had ours in since last Friday.
Yeah.
Is when we did the envelope game. So we will promise. I'm just not in a position right now to do it. I can't even talk about it anymore. Let's go. Liv's list. What do we got?
Hey,
Listen.
wait a second. Is Liam Coen not coming to Jackson? What do you know?
Well, first of all, I want to make sure he does come. And secondly, there's like 20, 25 envelopes in there. So we're going to go through them all. We got to give everybody their due time. We don't have time for that.
We need at least a half
Go
hour.
ahead, Liv.
I did.
I
see
need some
Brent's
good
envelope in
music.
there. He wants the music. He wants to set the mood.
I even have to figure out what prizes I'm giving away. So I'll have the weekend to figure that out.
There you go.
Dude's been on YouTube for the past 5 hours, it seems like. It didn't even have the foresight to have the envelope game ready to go. Okay, let's go, Liv. What do we got?
Hey, all right. So we can possibly make this a prize that Brent gives away. Post Malone Oreo cookie collab, salted caramel and shortbread swirl, a chocolate cookie on one side and a golden cookie on the other. Debuts February 3rd.
So Oreo's, like the actual Nabisco Oreo has partnered up with Post Malone
for a cookie.
Post Malone's going to become the new Snoop Dogg. He's going to be everywhere doing everything. Like, he's already on Hard Rock Bets. Now he's got his own cookie. Just wait. He'll be hanging out with Martha Stewart as well.
With all due respect to face tattoos, I didn't expect the face tattoo guy to be kind of in the food
cookie guy?
line.
That's a good point.
I mean, really a lost opportunity to bring in Jelly Roll, if we're being honest here, but...
Yeah, he could put them down. I bet he could.
Well, but just the name Jelly Roll, like, hey, let's get some Jelly Roll, whatever, Oreos.
Yeah, what's the filling? Is it like strawberry jelly or something? I mean, what do you put in that?
Yeah,
Hey, Liv, I ain't gonna lie. You give me an Oreo cookie with some strawberry jam or some
That's
strawberry
not a
jelly.
bad idea, man.
All right.
It's like
one of those vanilla wafers.
The spin on a Twinkie would have been great for Jelly Roll or something. I mean, come
Mouth
on.
is watering right
boy.
now. Please continue.
Okay, so what? 2 weeks from now, that Oreo comes out. I'm gonna go buy them, and then I'm gonna buy a regular pack and put jelly in it, and we're gonna have a taste test
There you go.
on the show.
What else you got?
All right, so this has been kind of trending all week. Mark Andrews, have you seen the GoFundMe, Bills Mafia?
Pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to hate Bills Mafia and make a rivalry out of them, but they raised more than $128,000 in 4 days. The original goal was $5,000 for Mark's charity for juvenile diabetes.
Well, quite frankly, at this stage of the game, I think I'd probably pony up $128,000 if the Jags were in the AFC Championship game, too, especially if a guy helped us get there. Yeah. But it's a cool thing the Bills Mafia always does. It's a pretty neat deal. And listen, Mark Andrews, you feel bad. I didn't love the idea that he didn't meet the media 2 days in a row. But I didn't also want to be too critical of that, but it's part of the job, unfortunately. I get it. And then he put out a statement. It was a pretty cool statement that he put out as well. And the way they rallied around him in Baltimore, I thought was pretty neat, too. So overall, the story is a winner. Yeah. And you feel bad. Yeah. Austin, listen, man, I feel, you played with guys. I feel bad for guys like that. He's an excellent player, and you get a bad day in front of a gazillion people.
Yeah, that's kind of what you sign up for sometimes, but I'm not mad at him for not facing the music and getting in front of the camera. Like, I get it, man, especially now with these modern athletes, Brent, like, you have every single right. Like, what do you want me to do? Do you want to pull Marshawn Lynch and just be like, you know why I'm here, not say anything? Like, I would much rather have him decompress, take some time off, then eventually when he gets in front of the camera, I'm sure he'll have more to say.
Yeah, and by the way, there's this old saying, right? This whole thing about entering the arena, and when you step back and you really appreciate what Austin does, right? To go in there and fight in a couple of months, to take the field, to be in front of so many people. I always respected this about Tebow, trying to transition to even tight end, to put yourself in a position where there's a really good chance you'll fail in front of a lot of people. Takes a lot of kahunas. So. Yeah, I mean, you appreciate that. You really do. From low levels of amateur sports to the highest of levels where more eyeballs are on you, that enter the arena quote is one of the greatest of all time because it is true. Not many people would be willing to do it if you said the outcome could look like this. But Mark Andrews would have signed up for the attempt and opportunity to go win that game, even if you told him the outcome could end up that way. So you have a lot of respect for people that do that.
Yeah. Good story on a Friday. All right, sad news for Muppets. In Disney World or Universal, wherever it is, they will be closing on June 7th, and they will be making room for Monsters, Inc. Land.
I was shocked by this. I heard this news because we got a Disney family.
Oh, and, no. Why have we not heard about this?
Heard about what?
Did you just have a late reaction or is something else going on?
Disney.
Oh.
I mean, what the hell was that, Hamby? I was like, you talk about too little too late.
He's grilling you, man.
That was right away.
Disney family.
Was there a delay there? No. That was delayed, right?
Really?
I definitely thought something else just happened, and I was like, what are we missing?
I was like, what are you talking about?
Yeah,
my head, as soon as you said Disney family.
Or something. I was like, wait, hold on.
Oh, I was up in arms as soon as you said the words Disney and family.
When I saw this, I was like, Monsters, Inc. is still a deal. Like, it's going that strong. I was surprised by that.
Yeah, shout out to Mike Wachowski. Hey, Brent, be honest. When you go with your family to Disney, you guys rocking the matching shirts?
Matching ears.
Just be honest.
I've done it before.
Just be honest.
Reluctantly done it before.
Man, I can't wait.
It was not my idea, man.
What that merchandise?
I'm telling you, it was not my idea. I was not happy about it, but I had to fall in line, and it's part of the reason I haven't been back since.
The hell you did. The hell you did, Brent.
I had to do it.
I'll never forget. This was like I think I told this story before. 3 Christmases ago, my ex-in-laws got us all Disney tickets for Ronan, because Ronan obviously. And they got matching shirts and everything. So it was like matching Mickey shirts and they all want us to put them on. So I play along. And then when we're leaving the house or whatever in the driveway and Ronan's in the car, I go to my ex at the time and go, hey, just to let you know, I'm not wearing this damn shirt. So let's establish this right now. I understand there's a plan. We're all going to wear these shirts. I ain't going to wear this shirt. Because we're a team, all right? We're individuals. So I'll wear what I want to wear. You wear what you want to wear, and we'll do it from there. So we had to meet him in Orlando with the shirts. Well, I guess Oz forgot his shirt. Oh, I forgot mine. And did they try to go get me another one? Absolutely. And did I say no? Absolutely, Brett. Sometimes you got to stick to your guns.
Well, hey, folks.
One of those families.
Hey, folks, there's one guy divorced on this show, and there's one guy married for 25 years.
Hamby, take this as notes.
Yeah, Hamby, just
if your wife wants matching shirts, you wear the damn shirt.
Yeah, Hamby. Hey, and we wear that shirt, Hamby, make sure you take a giant picture of that smile on your face. So I can see those dead eyes that you're rocking. All right,
it'll never see the light of day.
All right, what we got? We got to hustle. We got to get out of here.
2 more. Morgan Wallen Tour just announced. I'm the Problem Tour. Pre-sale tickets come out January 28th.
All right.
I saw him in Tampa Bay.
I'm the Problem Tour?
It feels a little Taylor Swifty. In my opinion.
Yeah.
A little Taylor Swift in them.
Yeah.
Ooh, yikes.
They have a whole thing going on. Anyway, and then
he's got a little feistiness? Okay.
A little feisty, yeah. I don't know what he's trying to do. Anyway, Jurassic World Rebirth. It is a new movie coming out in July. Chris Pratt is not going to be in it.
Does that do anything for you, Jurassic World?
Oh.
Austin?
Well, I can't.
You can't hear us?
Jurassic Park, Jurassic
Oh,
World.
did you? Hammy, turn
Hammy,
it
whatever music you put on, you shut off Austin, I think.
Okay. We're
Jurassic
back now.
World. Jurassic World. Do you care about that?
Me?
Yeah.
Nah, I kind of stopped caring for the last two of them. Were kind of whatever.
Wow.
'Cause
All
I
right,
feel
maybe
like,
I'm the only one.
well,
I'll go
no,
by
'cause,
myself.
Liv, you know where it's gonna go. They're gonna be like dinosaur humans. They're gonna be start talking and everything. Like we're all set.
I was kind of mad when Chris Pratt wasn't announced in it, so I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
All right.
All of a sudden, Velociraptor's got machine guns shooting people. Like I'm all set.
I thought he did the thumbs up. I thought it was a thumbs up, man. What a way that would have been to end the week. Hey, we'll wait on Liam Coen. We'll have it for you on CBS 47, Fox 30. Have a good weekend, Austin. Thanks for Liv's List. Go to work, Hamby. And thanks for hanging out with us all week, everybody.